Well, hello, lady. You look kind of pretty when you're mad. Wah-ha.
All right, you sound like Hank Hill from freaking.
My voice is so shot from Horror Nights.
No. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 72 of the Thought Patrol podcast. We are in our elderly years. We do apply for any and every early bird discount. But yeah, we're here. I'm joined by Tyler in person. Holy shit.
Look into my eyes.
Oh, yes. I get to look at your beautiful face for the next 2 hours-ish.
7-2. Mamacita.
And Shawn over Discord.
Push to talk, Discord.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Still haven't technically resolved the mic issue yet. We're working on that.
But we're here nonetheless.
Nonetheless, we are here another week. You know what they say? Just keep on trucking, no matter what.
Keep on keeping on.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. So, this week, we got a few things to talk about. It's going to be actually quite a packed episode. So the main topic, just because it's trending right now, we're going to talk a little bit about Red Dead, even though I'm the only one that's played it here. So I'm going to gush about it for a bit when we get to the main topic, but we have a lot to discuss throughout the episode as well. So it's going to be a pretty packed episode. Keep that in mind. But I love Red Dead. I fucking love Red Dead. It's really good. There's a few things here and there that are lacking, to be fair, but I think what it does well, it does to the point where I think it's redefining the genre, and I will get into why that's happening. So, before we get into all the meat and potatoes of this podcast, how you boys doing? We're going to start with Tyler, move on to our push-to-talk buddy.
I like meat and taters.
Meat and taters.
We're
We're going to do the rest of this podcast with a cowboy accent to get into the mood for Red Dead.
Wait. So, have I ever sent you the snap whenever I come down south? I said, oh, no, I don't. I'm going to start sending you that. I forgot this time. Actually, I forgot the past few times. But when I come down south, down the turnpike,
Okay.
There's a Yeehaw Junction. And every time I pass it, I open up my Snapchat and I record it. And I go, yeah!
So fucking loud. Your vein popped up out of your head, dude. Holy shit.
I mean, I actually try to hold back, but dude, I do pretty good.
That's beautiful.
Every time. It's my thing.
Bro, we have a question. Do you have a confident cowboy accent?
Well, I believe so. I think I can do a good cowboy accent. Well, I mean, it's not. Is it a
cowboy,
southern?
not southern. So you have to be dumb and southern.
But southern is almost kind of like a little cowboy accent.
No, it is.
I just have to be talking about little prairie on the hootenanny and hold down or something like that, right?
That's good enough.
I can do that. All right, we can do that. But anyways, Kyle,
we might have to do what we did last time when we did Batman. We'll have to do a. We'll cast a vote here amongst the three of us between you and Shawn, because mine's awful. Because we have a mailbag question I want to read in a cowboy accent. Something we got from Sam when we get there.
Okay, cool. So, I would love to read one of Sam's questions.
I love Sam's questions.
I do. I love him too. I love Sam.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
That's a lot of man right there.
This eye contact is freaking me out now that we're talking about another man at the same time. But I do enjoy it.
My foot over to take the toes.
Just doing it right now. Dude, I'm half shove already.
Bro, I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, man. It's cool. I'm so glad I was able to come in physically this time. It has been a while since. I think the last time I was here was when we did the video when we actually had the camera recording. I don't know if you recall that. It had to be
in my room, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was under. It was
it was in the 20s.
Before, yeah, but it was in the 20s. I want to say
before I had my setup.
Mm-hmm. Back
I
in those days.
I was waiting for it to get here. Yep. That's how bad.
The quality's still the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But with all that said, my week's been pretty good. I haven't really. Good as in nothing bad has happened, but it's been pretty much the same as the last time I was on the podcast. I haven't really done much. I've just been busy with work and everything. But I came down for Halloween, got a few days down here again, so gonna chill. And again, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to play any video games, but I did. Show-wise, I was actually watching, and sorry, Shawn, I didn't watch your movies like I said I was probably going to, but I did not, unfortunately. So
You're dead to me.
Red Dead. And I actually saw the second season of Castlevania on Netflix, and man, that it was so fucking cool. I mean, I feel like out of our group, I'm like the simpleton. Like you guys definitely are like the advanced nerds, but like I love most things other than Call of Duty and things like that. I think that's the only thing I really bitched on. But I don't know. I'm very easily entertained by things.
Oh, okay.
So
glad you clarified.
Is where I was getting to.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I think it was just amazing. Just the build up to the story's really good. I thought I kind of like the characters and just obviously all the action and blood and stuff. Once it's a little bit of a slow build. There's a lot of like storytelling in the beginning, a lot of like plotting and whatnot, which I actually still enjoyed. I didn't mind that dragging part, but yeah, dude, the blood and guts, it really gets there. It gets down to 11, and oh my god, Dracula is like fucking awesome, dude.
Better be.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I watched that, so I definitely recommend go see that. Tomorrow I'm going to go see Marilyn Manson with my mama.
Oh, nice.
So I was kind of not a huge fan. I do like some of his music. It's like I can probably name like literally maybe 5 or 6 songs that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an interesting character, that's for sure. I don't know if I honestly like him too much as like what he stands for nowadays. Now he seems, every time I see him like on YouTube or something like that, or like he's like doing some sort of concert or some sort of topic on something, he's like drunk and intoxicated. It was like he's not really getting his point across because I feel like whatever he's on is getting in the way. But like back in the day, you would go see some of his interviews of like some of the shows he would be on, and he's a smart man. But nowadays he's just kind of like a drunk. So, and he's getting fat and stuff. So I think he's just getting lazy. So once you get drunk and fat, like no one
respects your opinion. When you're drunk
not anymore. Yeah, more when you're Marilyn Manson. So.
Oh man,
so
you heard it here first.
Yeah. But that's about it. So I'm taking my fiance back up too with me this time. I'm tying her down and maybe she don't go anywhere this time. So she got free. So I came back and tracked her ass down and
you hog-tied her. Put her on the back of your spare, taking her down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Take me home.
Exactly.
All right,
Shawn, what about you, dude? How have you been?
Push it hard.
I'm actively worrying about both of you at the moment.
Good.
That's what happens when they put us in. We get put in a room together.
Yeah, it makes it pretty productive too.
And eventually, shit starts to burn, and we got problems.
Noises.
Yeah.
Something about rough peanut butter not being a good lubricant.
Crunchy, extra crunchy, man. Oof.
I'm ready to get.
Makes a real man out of you. I've been looking for new jobs a lot. It's been a pain in the ass.
Damn it, Kyle.
Customize the cover letter, and then you got to rework your resume. Then you have to use all the keywords from the thing, and then you got to take the online tests, and then personality profiles, and all sorts of other bullshit.
Yeah, dude. You know what I hate the most, Shawn? Right. The like job search system is so fucked, but like I hate. They always ask you first for a resume, right? They're like, send in your resume. And then after that, you still, every time, have to fill out everything that's on the fucking resume.
Oh, right.
Why did I even upload my resume if I still have to fill out my employment, my education information, all that? I still have to fill it out. What's the point? It takes like 20-25 minutes to fill out a resume sometimes. Because then after that, you have the dumbass questionnaire that they do everybody that literally means nothing. It's just like one more way to weed out people that might be psychotic that don't know how to answer that properly.
Everybody lies on it anyway.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I love my coworkers. No one's ever thought bad of me. I've always been the leader in my group. That kind of stupid shit.
I never, ever get jealous when the guy next to me is driving a Lamborghini and has a blonde bombshell and I'm in a car that barely gets a block. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. I am Jesus. Literally Jesus. All right. Yeah, no, I feel you.
I watched the Haunting of Hill House series. It was between that and Castlevania. And you know how I am about things that I treasure. I put them off forever until I don't know why I do that.
Yeah.
The original first season stayed fairly close to the source material, which I was pretty happy about. They changed a few things that I find completely and utterly unnecessary and would have added more depth to it. So I don't know why they did that. I think maybe they just weren't familiar with the canon when they wrote it. But otherwise,
you're referring to Castlevania, correct?
Yeah, the first season.
See, that's why I brought up the whole me being the simpleton, because I knew Shawn wasn't gonna fucking go on about this. Because last week he went on about the fucking.
He loves Castlevania.
Oh, I bet he does. So like, I look at it as just like all three of us in a ring, and everyone else too, including Antony. But like, I mean, just the levels of where we're at and how far we go into things. So it's kind of cool to have a little bit of everyone's aspects and their mentalities toward things, because that way you have everyone broadening the spectrum of the community.
Definitely. That's why me and Shawn talk about it all the time, but that's why we like our earlier episodes, because we had a decent amount of people, and then they got shuffled in and out because everyone was super excited about doing a podcast. Look at us now in our older years. Everyone's fucking ditched us. Besides you, it's pretty much just me and Shawn mostly every week. We're like the regulars, then you guys come in and again, broaden that spectrum. But it's nice to have that spectrum broaden, especially since we're all like friends, so we all do well together in a room just talking to each other. We're not like weird with each other and shit.
What?
Well, at least not all the time.
Yeah.
But
this table's gonna be gone here pretty soon. We're gonna be a little bit closer.
Yeah. But that's why we like the earlier episodes, even though they are shittier in quality because we're all gathered around one mic or something. But the camaraderie is there, kind of, and everyone else being able to provide their opinion that way. It's nice. I mean, I like where we are today. I like that we're still doing this. We didn't give up on and stop it or whatever. And I don't think we will be stopping anytime soon, because I genuinely enjoy being able to talk to you guys every week. Even like the last week was kind of crazy. I had a lot going on, getting ready for Halloween. They're doing stuff at church, all this other stuff like that. And it was kind of crazy. So we didn't get as much time to talk to each other, but we always have this time at least once a week to get together and talk with each other.
And I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's why I appreciate it, and it helps a lot to know that there are people that do tune in and listen. All you guys out there, all 3 or 4 of you that do fucking around, but all the
one of them is me too. I just when you see it goes on YouTube, I'm like always that first like.
Yeah, all of you guys that do tune in and listen and talk to us on Discord and hang out with us, genuinely we appreciate it so much. It makes it so much easier to do this when you actually have some kind of voice coming back to you. You're not just talking onto the internet by yourself. It genuinely helps a lot with production of this podcast.
But yeah, fuck you, Shawn.
But yeah, I do apologize about that. Let's go back to you. Actually started the interruption, you piece of shit.
I know. I just had to bring that up real quick, and then we kind of went into side tangent. It was always as we always do. So you know, it's this is what you get here.
We're Segue Factory over here, baby.
Fuck yeah!
All right, Shawn.
Segue podcast.
Yeah.
No, Castlevania hewed fairly close to the source material. It's based off of Castlevania 3, which up until a later point in the series was the earliest in the timeline. Then they released another game that took place earlier, but raised a few continuity issues, which weren't too big of a problem. They could have easily smoothed those out, but rather than do that, they retconned it entirely. So that game is not part of the continuity. And so that leaves 3 as the earliest one with Trevor. And a key point in that story was that Alucard had to watch his mother die. He was in the shadows at a distance as they burned her, and she stopped him from rescuing her. And because she didn't want him being demonized, she didn't want his blood involved in the conflict, and she knew what his father was going to do. So this comes back in Symphony of the Night. When his father's dying at his hands, his father asks what his mother's last words were. And then he tells him, because he was there. You know, she told him that as she was being burned at the stake. And that was a very key plot point, and they didn't include it at all. Like, they didn't show him there. They didn't know, unless they go back and explain that he was in the shadows in an alley or something. I don't understand why they shot that out. Also, he was a boy when it happened. Like, he was in his teens or, you know, like maybe tweens, whatever. He was younger. And in this, they haven't really explained when he put himself in a torpor, put himself to sleep, basically. Because in 3, he explains to Trevor that he knocked himself out because he didn't want to deal with the madness of his father anymore. So, much like Street Fighter The Assassin's Fist, they only changed a few small details. The only other problem with it is it heavily condenses the events that happen. so it's difficult to see the timeline. But outside of that, like, I really like Castlevania. I wish it had been animated by like Clamp or Madhouse or Trigger or something like that, or UFO Table even.
Oh my,
instead of an American team.
Holy shit! I never even thought about that. You know the people that did Unlimited Blade Works?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if they did Castlevania.
It would look cool, but I like this. I think they were going with like a certain style here. It kind of reminded me of.
But UFO Table, although they have their own style, they also adhere to other styles too, in the works that they do.
Because they're going for like the Afro Samurai-esque, or like even like there's a movie short during the Chronicles of Riddick series between Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick. And it's a lot like that. I can't remember what the name of it was called. It's like Dark Fury or something like that. But it's an animated short with all the original voice actors, and it has that very same style, and it's like very graphic too. So I kind of saw that resemblance, which is why I kind of maybe related to it a certain way. Which, I mean, again, you guys know more than I do, so by all means.
No,
Castlevania's art style is extremely similar to Final Fantasy's art style. You know how that artist does all those watercolors of the characters, and they're very effeminate.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah. The original Castlevania art style that's carried on up to now has all been done by the same artist, and the characters have a very effeminate style to them, which is why I kind of lean towards Clamp, because Clamp's very good with that. They can make a character, and they do a lot of softness to the expression without sacrificing masculinity, which is the way it works in Castlevania. But again, what we got was way beyond anything I expected. I was so diehard into Castlevania that when Symphony of the Night came out and I dove into the lore, because it's harder to get the lore in the 8-bit games. They don't give you as much, and it kind of bounces around because of translation. But when I dove into the lore and I saw how deep the story went in Japan with all these comic books and informational pamphlets and shit that they used to pass out over there, that I wrote scripts and thought about this ongoing series that starts with the beginning and carries this epic through, because the castle comes back like every 400 years, I believe. Dracula's life is tied to the castle. Every time the castle returns, he returns. So he can't truly die. He did some sort of ritual a long ass time ago that ties him to the castle. They did some games on PS2 that try and explain that. I believe they retcon the shit out of those too. But anyway, it's a good series. And it ended up much, much better than I anticipated it would, especially considering it was done by Americans. But the guys behind it, much like the guy behind Assassin's Fist for Street Fighter, are diehard fanboys. So the fact that they only changed a few tiny things is exceptional.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
in the House on Haunted Hill series, that's old school horror, and it's good. I appreciate it a lot. There's some vague things that happen that don't exactly make sense why spirits behave the way they do and so on. But overall, it tells a pretty good story. I enjoyed it a lot. So if anybody is interested in a decent Halloween thing, you can spam the whole thing in a night. I did.
Did you ever, speaking of spamming something in a short period of time, did you ever check out that Plastic Nason show, Shawn? The one that's like 30 minutes long, to watch every OVA?
Yeah, I watched it. On my birthday on Tuesday.
It's fucking insane. That show is so crazy. It's all over the place.
It was not nearly as good as the other
definitely
comedy.
not. I think the other ones are much better. Sobia Sobase. Fuck, I love that show. So never mind.
Yeah, it's really good.
You know what also is really funny, and I watched it again recently? The second episode of Zombieland Saga, that whole rap scene that they had when they were at the elderly house, like with the zombie girls, bro, that shit had me dead. I love the producer, like everything about him. He's such a quirky motherfucker. I love him so much. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we need to get back to watching again. It's been really busy, but we need to maybe tonight after we record, we could watch some anime. What am I gonna say? How about video games? You play anything new video game related? I know you weren't getting Red Dead. It's not your cup of tea. But have you delved into anything else?
Yeah, I've done the Halloween event in Trove. I wrapped up the Halloween event in Final Fantasy. I pushed the story forward. Outside of that, it's been a rough week. I don't really recall doing much else. I did a little bit more of the Curse of the Moon thing. That blood something.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, it's not Bloodborne. I'm waiting to do Bloodborne with you and Tyler. Other Tyler. The people I play Bloodborne with are both named Tyler.
Tyler's just happened to like Bloodborne. That's a good game. It runs like shit, though. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I haven't had any issues with it.
Bro, have you played the DLC?
When it first came out, no, I haven't played like the old Hunters. I think it was what.
Yeah, the old. It's like the Old Dream or something.
Or the Old Dead or something.
I don't know. This talent they introduce, it has one of the best boss fights in the game. Really? When you fight Maria, she's so because like. It's not just the fight itself, but the story behind the fight and how you get up to her area where you fight her, and they like the whole way they're as they do, they're leaving breadcrumbs up to the fight, so you gather the story as you're going through the area. And the fight before her fight is like the culmination of all her failures and shit, all this stuff. Very interesting storyline, very sad, like most of Dark Souls lore. And you get to her fight, and overall she's cool. The way you're introduced to her is cool. She uses a cool ass weapon that and her phases are cool. Like she stabs herself midway and it lets out a bunch of blood. Now all of her attacks have blood on it, and it spews out like a blood after effect to her blade. And then her blood ignites when you fight her. It's really fucking cool fight. Awesome. But the problem is the town, you probably got 15 to 20 frames solid. So in a game where like reaction time is important, and it's fucked.
That is poor.
It's really nasty.
It was that low.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know what happened with that, but the game for the most part held a steady 30 in the base game. There was in some areas where it would get kind of nasty, but when you got to the DLC, whew, that's still a fantastic game though. It's the whole reason I bought a PS4 in the first place. And
absolutely.
I said, fuck all you Xbox players.
Yeah, well, actually no, it was Last of Us, but I ended up getting Bloodborne 2 shortly after.
It's a great game. There's no Bloodborne 2.
No, I'm saying Bloodborne like as well. Alongside Bloodborne 2 as long as no. That'd be cool though. I was hoping.
All right. I'm glad you're all doing well.
How about you, Kyle?
It's been busy.
Yeah, like you said.
So I've been all my free time that I've had that wasn't going to something else. Yeah, dude, fapping. No, it was either going to partially Red Dead, and I've actually been playing, like on stream, I've been playing a little bit of Fortnite here and there, like the Battle Royale version of Fortnite with Hector. And I'm having a little bit more fun. I think that's because I've been getting better, so I don't just get fucking trashed every time we get to a fight. So I've been doing some of the challenges here and there, but that free time has maybe been like 1% of the rest of the week. Kind of, it's been the last few days. It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty busy.
So I haven't been able to play Red Dead as much as I wanted to. I haven't been able to play much of anything as much as I wanted to. Good thing is after tonight we should be good, back to normal. Still looking for a job, like I said. We're working on it. I'll do anything at this point, shoveling shit if I have to. But I also recently reached out to Carlos from high school. Remember him? Bang,
Martinez?
Bang. Remember that dude?
Martinez. I think it was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He works with FedEx.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, he works with FedEx Express, so he said I could use him as a reference.
That's who it was. Okay, your mother told me that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
I know Carlos, we were from FedEx. Huh? They make good money from what I hear. Especially like, you got the holidays coming up too.
And I looked, and they do have a holiday position for the warehouse, so...
There you go, maybe.
We'll see what happens. I haven't been contacted by anyone yet. I know I talked to Antony. He works with Apple. Maybe get me there. I don't know what's going on. So, but we're doing good. That view on life still optimistic as it has been the last 22 years.
As it should be.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
Exactly. Video games fill the hole that is left in my heart from everything else. So that's the only thing I need.
Life's Band-Aid.
But yeah, everything's been going good. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk to you guys. I'm excited all you guys tuning in, or are tuning in, listening to us babble about our incessant bullshit. I do appreciate it. So, let's move in. We got housekeeping. We got a few things to talk about real quick before we move forward. I don't think I actually mentioned it, but we do Twitch streams, guys. A couple times a week, we stream on Twitch at night, Eastern time. It is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights, 9 p.m. to 12 to 1 a.m. 1 in the morning, Eastern time. So if that sounds interesting to you, want to see us play some games, I know Fallout 76 beta actually starts tomorrow from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., something like that. We do have actually we don't. But that's starting soon, so that's be exciting. I'm definitely going to be streaming that when that starts to come out. Looking forward to that as we get closer to that game. When the game does come out, we'll be streaming it pretty crazily. We're looking into streaming some horror games, some more horror games, some RPG Maker games. We have a list of games we're going to start playing through. So again, if any of that sounds interesting to you, feel free to stop by. It's also a good way to support what we do here at the Thought Patrol podcast. If you like what we do and you want to throw a little bit of change our way,
Monopoly
that'd
money.
be a good way of doing that. Anything would be appreciated. It really helps. Again, just the fact that you guys talk to us, that's like the biggest fucking thing. The fact that we put out an episode and someone says, oh, hey, I watched that movie you guys watched. It was interesting. I liked it. Or it was trashy or whatever. We do appreciate. That's the biggest thing you guys can do for us right now. Also, we have a Discord. All these ways of connecting with us will be in the description below every podcast. You could stop by, say hi to the host, talk to the community that's hanging out in there, post a dank meme. It's a good way to get announcements that we do here. We do polls now on Friday nights. So every Friday night we do a community poll. You could vote for the game that you want to see on that stream. And we do a bunch of things like that. Also, when we do eventually get to giveaways, if we ever do, there might be a giveaway or two that we drop over there. Also, if we talk about anything this podcast episode that interests you, you have an opinion on whatsoever, feel free to drop a comment below the YouTube video, or some podcast services do comments, believe it or not. I know Audioboom does and stuff like that. Wherever it suits you, we'd appreciate it. Also, while you're there, feel free to drop a subscribe. Click that bell. It'd help us out a lot. You could also subscribe on any podcasting service that you are listening to us on. You get us every Tuesday at 8 a.m. We're on Spotify. Google Play is like slowly stopping their podcasting service. So I don't know how much longer that'd be around, but we'll be there until it's gone. Apple Podcasts is a pretty big thing, and also Spotify is very big too. So we're in the major areas for you to listen to us. Also, we have a Twitter at ThoughtPatrolPD. You get announcements there. Also, we do the polls there as well if you do not want to join the Discord. And we have a Facebook where we also manage a sister page, the Streaming Geek, over there as well, that does reviews and stuff like that. So you check all that out on Facebook. You can search up Thought Patrol Podcast. You'll find everything over there. And finally, iTunes reviews. If you want to help us out, help us show up a little bit more in whatever the analytics of iTunes, feel free to drop a review. You don't even have to say anything. Leave a star rating, whatever you think is appropriate for the podcast. We'd appreciate that. With all that out of the way, let's get into our mailbag. Yeah, it's a lot of housekeeping. With all that out of the way,
it's a big ass house.
We got a mailbag.
We have a few mailbag questions.
We have a few mailbag questions that are quite topical. Now, if you want to send us in a question, we'll answer pretty much fucking anything. We don't have much of a filter here. You could do this a couple of ways. You could do this at email at ThoughtPatrolcast@gmail.com. You can send us a question there. You could do it through Discord in the mailbag section, or you could do it on Twitter with the hashtag TPMailbag. It'd be the easiest ways to get a question out to us. We could answer it, and yeah. The easiest way is Discord, to be entirely honest. A lot of people don't like using Discord because they join a server and their phone gets blown up every time. Although you can mute servers.
You can, yeah. I definitely did.
It is
most funny. I don't even use that.
It can get quite annoying very easily. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and move into our mailbag. First, we're gonna do a little voice acting thing. We're gonna see who has a better cowboy accent. I don't just want a southern accent. I want a cowboy accent. So
you want
mix
a cow
lingo,
accent?
bitch. Mix lingo in there. Whatever sounds like a typical Western cowboy that to you. We'll do one Shawn and one Tyler. I'll give you one of the sentences in the question to read, and then we'll see who's better. So this will be the sentence you guys will read. We'll take turns. That there Red Dead Redemption came out this week, and I'll be darn tootin' it's neater than a burlesque show at a retirement home. So I wanted to hear that in your cowboy accent.
Was that yours? Because that was absolutely terrible.
That was Sam's. That's the unique quality to Sam's questions.
Like you,
they have a charm, a terrible charm.
Gotcha.
To them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'm gonna read it one more time. This is from Sam's question. That there, Red Dead Redemption came out this past week, and I'll be darn tootin', it's neater than a burlesque show at a retirement home. I want to hear that in a cowboy accent. You go first, Tyler.
Okay. I see that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I like to read this. Where are we here? All right. God, I wish I had like a warm-up or something. You
had earlier before we started.
Yeah, all right, shut the fuck up. Well, that there, Red Dead Redemption came out this past week, and I'll be darned tootin' if it's nearer than burlesque show at a retirement home. I mean, you can't really like go too I mean, like you have to go southern too, really. But it's like it depends what you say. It's all about like the verbiage, I would say. Anyways,
Shawn, what about you? If you can't, just give me an example. If you don't remember the question,
see how you feel.
Just give me anything.
I would try and read it from the fucking page, but I have to push the.
You have to push the what? Push the talk.
I know.
You just give me something. Just give me something. I have faith. You could just fucking babble.
Dude, I can't. I mean, I can do a cowboy accent, but I can't read that thing. And
that's fine. Just say something.
Well, the point is if he does win, how is he going to read it?
That's my point.
All right, so why would
I'll give you a cowboy thing just for shits and giggles.
There you go.
Well, hello, lady. You look kind of pretty when you're mad. Waha.
All right, you sound like Hank Hill from freaking.
My voice is so shot from Horror Nights.
No, man.
Oh, that's fucking funny. All right, Tyler, you just want to read this question?
Normally, that sounds like normally when my voice isn't red.
No, it sounds like Hank Hill from King of the Hill.
No. Yeah, now it does.
God damn it, buddy.
Who's that motherfucker that died with like 8 pounds of undigested red meat in his gullet?
Bless that man's soul. I don't know,
I
though.
have no idea.
Jeez.
Fuck, I don't remember. John Wayne.
Oh, John Wayne.
That was him?
That's a John Wayne thing.
John Wayne's dead?
You look kind of pretty.
He died from...
Yeah. Pretty when you're mad.
I got you.
Anyway, I want Tyler to do it because I can't read shit and push the talk.
Okay, that's all right, dude. I got you. Well, it's funny because I just like read some of this. All right, so I just have to do all this. All right.
Yeah, and then we'll talk. Well, I'll talk about it because you guys.
So this is Sam's question here with a little bit of a twist on here. So, salutations, Thought Patrol. That there Red Dead Redemption came out this past week, and I'll be darned too. And it's nearer the burlesque show at a retirement home. The amount of details and attention to gameplay makes me giddier than a hog walking in mud. All that being said, that other game franchise should take a page out of Rockstar's playbook. Well, this hombre got to go right into the sunset of despair. See you cowpokers on the other side of the week, that is.
You don't have to read the cue. Okay.
Mr. Kyle, that's your cue, sir. How you doing?
That's All Might, we need you. All right. What was I gonna... Okay, so Red Dead. What he's referring to. So Red Dead has done a lot to the gameplay loop, like just playing the game, to make it, again, as I was saying before, probably kind of like redefine the open world gaming genre as a whole. I'll get further into that later, but the question basically, what company or franchise do we think... Okay, so for Red Dead, think super immersive. So if you go into a shop, right? You have a saloon or a shop, you go inside. If you walk in, the way they treat it is they'll have a book that you can look through where you could buy stuff that way. Or every item in the shop can be picked up and purchased that way. So if you walk in, if you see something in the corner that looks interesting, well, for the most part, some of them are decoration, but for the most part, like 80-something% of the shit in the shop can be purchased. You actually go up, grab it, and pick it up. So think just raw, straight immersion. What game franchise would you like to take a step towards that? Like straight up, the whole thing is about a persistent world. So you come across a dude that got bit by a snake. You could suck out the venom, or you can give him a tonic. And then come an hour later, you find him in town, and he's actually alive. He survived because you helped him. and he offers to buy you something from the shop, so you can walk into the shop and get something for free. So think of it like it feels like a truly living, breathing world. What franchise would you want to take a step out of that?
So what you're saying is it's kind of like it's the simple things, it's the little things, like the little details.
Yeah, the details in this game are fucking insane. Little detail.
What games would I like to see?
What game would you like to take a step in that direction?
And I could say any game, because there are games that, like, obviously aren't. I haven't played the game yet, but from what you're telling me, like, if you could say even more immersive, because I would go back and replay Skyrim like that, just to be that more specific for the little things. So instead of like fucking, you get going and get like attacked by a gang of wolves, like let's say a dragon comes in or something like that. And like I like to see honestly how that would go, and like you save like some survivors' lives, because like a lot of that I actually love a lot of the things that happen in Skyrim, like obviously the little things aren't that detailed, but.
Yeah.
I'm playing footsies over here with me.
Sorry.
But like, yeah, something would happen. Like if you do save someone's life, let's say, and it's like, oh, they'll be like, oh, thank you. And then they just go wandering off and that's it. You never see them again. Yeah. And it's like, they never remember you. So it's like, I kind of would like if it was more of a a system.
A Bethesda franchise, you think would be cool to do that.
Right. And the game specifically would be Skyrim. But yeah, I like that. Just
Elder Scrolls 6, baby.
Based on the immersion, that would be something. Imagine if they do something like that, right? I would love it to be that specific, and like I could even see that going down the road of like VR and stuff, and really the nit and gritty.
Well, the VR usually makes a point to do that because it helps you. The whole end goal of all this is immersion. The easier you get immersed in the world, and VR kind of needs that. You can't have stuff sitting on a desk that you can't pick up in VR, because then I lost my immersion. I can't touch this stuff. The idea is interactability with the world.
I want my money back.
Yeah, pretty much. So now I definitely see that though. But
I would love to see the
point. Imagine
Bethesda.
playing a Red Dead game where it's entirely in VR. That'd be insane. Or like Red Dead.
Does it based off the old Western style too? Does it kind of really stick to?
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like you're literally playing through a Western movie.
Okay, I want to see like how it came compared to the first one, because a lot of people love the first one, and like I feel like if it's Western stuff, it's a hit or miss, or it's like you love it or you hate it. There's really no in between. Which I think I was talking to Shawn about the other day, and because he's I believe he's not a fan of Westerns.
No, he's not. He doesn't like cowboys.
Oh. No cowboys, no Indians.
And no, it is a traditional Western story. And if the game was not the way that it was, I would not enjoy it. Because, again, I'm not the biggest fan of Westerns. I don't really like that. But I love persistent worlds, little details. I love shit like that. And this game hits the nail right on the head with the way that you interact with the worlds. Even just walking around, because you have a camp, even just walking around your camp and seeing everyone from the gang and how they interact with each other, they basically did everything they could to make it feel like a living, breathing world. Everything. There's nothing, like, it's very hard to get pulled out immersive last unless you have a glitch of some sort, because this is like one of those games, a lot of games sometimes you just want to get point A to point B. Mm-hmm. Like, just get me there, give me the reward, let me get the item. This is like one of those games because you have to manage things. It's very, very, very small survival tinge. Like, you kind of have to eat food, and it keeps your health regenerating faster. You have to actually sleep.
Minecraft.
Yeah, you have to sleep to keep your dead eye up and stuff like that. But like, this is one of those games where I do that every day. Like, when I'm done, it's nighttime, I'm gonna go back to camp, I'm gonna go to sleep. You wake up in the morning, and if it's like at noon, you can eat from a bowl that's for the whole camp. It's like a stew bowl. You can get some coffee. It helps raise all your cores, is what they're called. So it helps the resource regenerate quicker. And even like, because a lot of times when I play a game like this, especially open world, there's a lot to do. And I will always push main story first. And that's what I'm kind of doing here. But the first like couple hours of the game, when I sat down to play it, I walked around. I didn't sprint all over the place. I was walking around because I gotta
go here. I have to go here. Oh, what's that? Okay.
Yeah, no, because you truly are pulled into the world, and time just like melts away at that point. It is insane how well done the game is at making the world feel the way it is. It's fucking insane. And the way it interacts with the gameplay loop, it's well done. Everything feels good. The way that you treat your horse, the way that your horse like works as a gameplay element works very well. It's never too much. It's not to the point where it becomes a nuisance at all.
Is it like with if you want a male or female horse, it's like, is it like that? Because you got a male horse, you got a big old ding-a-ling hanging around. That's detail right there. That's
you get the
detail.
dick and balls.
Oh,
and
fuck yeah.
It's even to the point, if you go into the cold regions, you can see the balls shrink on the horse. There's a dynamic testicle technician.
I'm buying this game right now.
I don't know what they're called, but
ball shriveling.
Yeah, dude, it's a ball shriveling simulator.
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, the horse's nuts will shrink in cold weather. But that
Tyler was on the fence, but once you mentioned horse,
Dude, I jumped, bro. I fucking jumped.
But that's kind of like, it's ridiculous, but it's a testament to the effort they put into making the
That's just how much time those employees put in. Like, can you imagine the countless hours and how long they've been making this game?
People, like, apparently they were working
crazy hours,
weeks and shit like that.
Yep, absolutely. They wanted to get the game right.
But the thing with that is, especially in video game development, crunch time is a thing. Even in normal jobs, you do have a crunch time thing, and they've come out and said that the overtime is not mandatory whatsoever. So those employees were doing it on their own fruition. They weren't forced to work those hours. They were doing it because
that's like, you love your job.
Time. But if you talk to anyone that's a contractor, crunch time is a fucking thing. You get to a point where you're not going to meet the deadline. Everyone has to get in and put in extra hours to make sure you meet the deadline in time, so you actually keep the contract and shit like that.
Absolutely.
So it's part of it's shitty and it sucks, but they're not being forced to do it, at least. So it's whatever at that point. Like, those people have families and shit, but it was under their own fruition that they did it. And now they got a really fucking cool game that they have their name permanently stamped on, which is, I would love to have worked on this game. Anything, bro. Make me the dynamic testicle technician or whatever the fuck it's called. I would have been all over that.
Give that man a raise.
So I think one series I think would be really cool to take the playbook, take this idea and put into the series. I would love to see a Zelda game like this.
Yeah,
because Breath of the Wild tried it. I think they did okay for their first attempt. It was in no terms a fantastic game in my opinion. But if they went to the level of detail to make the game like that, where it was extremely detailed, I think it would service the game incredibly well.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be very interesting. I don't know if Nintendo would actually do that. They like to keep things very simple. I don't think you would ever see, unless for some reason Nintendo ever lost, like they would just, someone else would pick up the helm for making Zelda games. But like, I can't ever see that happening.
I mean, Breath of the Wild had levels of it. It still had an arcade element to it
to an extent, but it was never. Again, they like to keep it simplified, and that was the most, I feel like, detailed, like RPG style, where it was like just all the items and stuff like that, and making stuff.
Well, this is a hypothetical. This is a hypothetical situation.
Oh no, I understand. I'm not trying to. I would love to see that too. That'd be fucking badass. Yeah. Real quick, I changed my mind though too. Instead of Skyrim, I thought about the Metro series.
Like Last Light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
And like in 2033, and then the new one coming out too. I thought, because they almost do it to a certain way when you go in like the chill zones and whatnot. And stuff, when you're in and you're like in the community and stuff, and you can go around. Like there's a lot of like small dialogue. If you stay around, you can actually see a lot of stuff. But like I would love to be like in like that marketplace and stuff like that. I love like that setting where people are just kind of like hanging out too. But then it's when they know behind the wall is just death. There's just certain death is waiting for them.
Surviving.
Yeah, and they're like their currency is like bullets and stuff like that, and it's
definitely a really cool world. I remember I read something that because the Witcher author, that he wrote the books that eventually led to the game, he sued CD Projekt Red because he didn't feel like he received a decent share of the money that they made with the game, right? And the dude that wrote the Metro games, he like called him a pussy or something.
You fucking pussy.
Or like a bitch or something. I don't know exactly, because of the way he was reacting.
In my country, dick suck you.
He received a shitload of money. It's just he didn't feel like it was enough. Now, to each their own. That's fine with me. I mean, technically these are, and they're expanded medias of your franchise, so I don't know how that works lawfully and stuff. So he might have had all the right. I just thought it was funny that the other dude called him a bitch because of what happened. But
that's pretty funny though too.
Shawn, do you have a game franchise you think it would be cool to take up the expansive detail / persistent worlds page from Rockstar's book?
I'm not a big fan of open world games because they always sacrifice story at the cost of detail and exploration. It just kind of goes with the territory. It always has. Some games do it better than others, but none of them have competed on the level of story that the Shin Megami Tensei and Final Fantasy games have, not counting 15, which is kind of hit or miss. But I think any of the open world games would benefit from that. I don't think that adventure games at all would benefit from that. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I think to a degree they would. But with an adventure game, you're being funneled in a specific direction to experience a specific scripted level of events, which is why I don't think that Zelda would benefit from it. But I do think that games that involve interacting with the world on any level would. I don't get into games like those. I think maybe games like Monster Hunter, it would work well. Exploration-based games like
Fallout would be cool too.
Yeah, Fallout, it would work really
Fallout
well.
to an extent is like it almost.
Yeah, you do pretty much interact with everything in Fallout. It's just not
a lot of your horror games have used that for years to no effect whatsoever, like being able to pick up chairs, cushions and shit. Like what's that game that PewDiePie got big playing? That game,
Amnesia.
Almost everything. Yeah, Amnesia.
That's a fun game.
But the having it impact the characters when you're in an open world game, I think that's a key detail. They did that to a lesser extent in the arena games, Elder Scrolls and whatnot. Sorry. I don't know that any of the games I played would. I guess it really depends on how the quest structure works. Like, and also how invasive it is with the menu. You know, a lot of the horror games do it well, or at least do it to a degree because you interact with your mouse. So when you click on things, it becomes a hand or whatnot. But when you're playing things like Red Dead, it's a third-person perspective. So I guess it would depend on how it's incorporated into the thing, into the UI, and how it plays. But I can't think of any games that I am a long-term fan of where it would drastically change the experience. Maybe things like Metal Gear. I think that might be useful. But again, like 90% of your scenery in Metal Gear isn't terribly useful, so what's the point? But when it comes to giving you these tiny events that can impact larger events, I think that would be beneficial in every game. Like, I don't have any specific games because I'm fairly happy with how certain genres play out, God of War, The Last of Us, etc. But if you were able to create a game that was able to make use of more of your surroundings, especially like games where you're trying to survive, I think that would be really interesting. Like if in The Last of Us, you could pick up anything in the environment and then scalp it for stuff. So if you saw a cash register, maybe if you'd have to take the time to break it down or whatever, or you can only carry certain things with you. But maybe when you rescue people, maybe then the gangs that would have normally raped and murdered you and ate your corpse might let you go.
Yeah. Stuff
like that would be interesting. I think that aspect could be utilized in every form of game. The picking up anything in the place really doesn't hold a lot of value for me. But the choices you make impacting the other choices you make, especially in role-playing games, or maybe giving you the opportunity to unlock side quests in things like Zelda or something, I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be every single thing they take, but yeah, I think... Excuse me. I think what they do in Red Dead is, like, masterfully done with that, and I think it would be cool to see it more often, just... is I think it helps, and especially in an open world game, you never want the world to feel empty, right? That's one of the problems I had with Breath of the Wild. The world had moments where it felt empty to me. So if they have every area actually feels like you're dealing with actual thinking and people that respond accordingly and stuff like that, it makes situations more interesting because you actually care about what's happening in a way. Like, Again, because you feel like you have a huge impact on the world around you. And if you don't have that... Go ahead.
If they ever were able to... the Zims decided that it's time to talk now. If they ever were to expand Castlevania to where you were doing more than just covering specific territory and specific levels... to get from point A to point B to defeat bad guy, like if they gave you towns to explore or things like that, or if they made it like a 3D version of the last one on PS2 or Castlevania 2, for instance, where you do go through villages and things like that, it would be an interesting concept to give you all of these choices that you can make and then uncover like weapons and things like that. So I think a few series would especially benefit from it rather than it being strictly a straightforward concept. You can take these small branches and it also builds out the world and the characters in it. But I think I covered that by saying all the games would benefit. So never mind.
All right. So thank you, Sam, for your question. We appreciate it as always. We got two more kind of smaller questions. We have Carlos Perez Skates comes in. He asks, favorite ramen place to eat? I've never personally actually been to a place that serves ramen, like any way, shape, or form. Now, I've had ramen at Antony's house. Now, it was like the noodles that you cook your own, but he adds shit to it all the time.
The packaged one, you mean?
Yeah, it's like a packaged one, but he always adds stuff to
one.
it, and he boils it himself. Like, that's super hard to do or whatever.
I mean,
but he always adds a bunch of shit to it that makes it tasty.
What does he add?
I don't remember.
You know, like vegetables or like some.
Oh yeah, there's
spices
vegetables in it,
and
spices, and stuff like that.
I'll try that.
I know there's one time he had like an egg that he put in it because sometimes they put egg in the ramen. But I've never had like a professionally made bowl of ramen. I've always wanted one because
Ichigo ramen.
Tasty.
I think that's what they call it, right, from Naruto.
Ichigo ramen. Yeah. They have a place. Obviously, all over the place. They have a place in Japan. I also really want like a good plate of curry too, because I love like kind of spicier food. So I want like a hot plate of curry. That sounds tasty.
That does sound good right now.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Damn,
it's
dude.
like 8. It's 9 o'clock. Feels bad.
Just find a curry place to go.
Shawn, have you been to a place that served curry or that you've had curry? Favorite place to eat curry?
Ramen,
I mean.
Fuck the other guy's question. How about curry?
I like red curry more than green curry.
Ramen. I asked the wrong question.
But when it comes to ramen, I've had real ramen, like the kind that's cooked all day in a giant pot and has sides of pork and whole chickens in it and tons of vegetables and noodles. It is absolutely not the same thing, even close.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's the American norm. It was like the Walmart. You know how much sodium's in those packs, too?
Shitload. Trying to kill people.
Yeah.
But ramen is, I don't know, it's one of those foods that affects your mood. You know, it like, I don't know, it makes you just feel happy. Like, it's just a really fun meal. I love soups, but I rarely find soups that I enjoy. Most of the time, they're very dull. Ramen never is dull. It just tastes. It's like Japanese comfort food. Kind of the same thing with curry. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Japanese curry because it's mostly salt, but Indian curry, which is by far the best, will fucking demolish your intestines the first couple times you try it. But when I've had ramen and I've had good curry, it's made by people who know how to cook it. Like, I had ramen made by a Japanese grandmother. I had curry made by 2 Indian parents. I also had Jamaican curry, which is different, but also good. The only thing I don't like about that is they cook the shit off the bones, and I'm not a bone fan.
You know what's good? Fucking jerk chicken. Have you guys had jerk chicken? Yeah. I fucking love jerk chicken.
Jerk chicken's good as shit, yeah.
Oh my God, I want jerk chicken now.
There are no restaurants in my area that do authentic food like that, but there are in Orlando, one of which I'm going to be going to at some point soon, so I can give you a report on it. But all of the good food I've had of that caliber has been cooked by people from the country.
Nice. I've never. They don't have shit down here, like for like authentic Japanese food. From what I've seen, most of it's Chinese food.
Yeah, shitty sushi and
I hate sushi
and shitty wok.
All right, so yeah, what about you, Carlos? Have you ever had authentic ramen, like made from someone who knew how to make it? Blah, blah, blah. I've watched people make like authentic ramen, like on YouTube and shit, and I'm like, oh my God.
What's like the American equivalent to like the home meal? You know, like easy food wise, like, you know, I guess like ramen is, I guess, to that. I mean,
chili.
So it's like a PB&J or like a chili.
Chili, man.
I could see chili.
Miso soup. They make a lot of miso soup too.
I'm saying for America. But yeah, I could see the miso soup too.
Well, I'm confused. What do you mean?
Chili,
I said
chicken,
like the American equivalent. So like what in America, like how Shawn
ramen?
said, yeah,
The American equivalent of ramen in Japan
should be like chili.
it'd be like-
I think that's a good. I think that's a good choice.
Either chili or maybe something like beef stew or. But that beef stew is an offshoot of
Or like a pot roast.
Yeah, something that you have to, something you take a while to make. It's not something that you have every day. I thought you mean like an everyday meal they have in Japan or something.
I think
like
I kind of asked both questions to myself, just didn't really imply it though.
Yeah, no. It'd be, think of any meal that like you have to plan ahead. You have to
Get like several ingredients and take a while to
cook
make
all day in a hot cooker and stuff like that. It's kind of like that, yeah.
Philly, maybe fried chicken. Fried chicken's an arduous process.
Yeah, I love. Homemade fried chicken.
Stupid.
I never had homemade fried chicken.
Really, it's pretty good.
I love fried chicken. Though. I want to get.
I am not a fan of homemade fried chicken, but most people like it.
I want to get like a the other Tyler that we know. He got like an air fryer, so it doesn't use oil.
My
It,
mom
like,
has
fries
something
it.
like that.
I want one of those so badly because I love frying.
The hell is that?
It's a
I don't know
healthier way.
I don't know how the hell it works, but it fries stuff with air.
Yeah, instead of using like the fatty oils,
It doesn't
and
use
stuff,
oil at all.
It's like
And it still gives you a fry.
and it's still actually no, it wasn't. I don't think it's my mom. It was actually one of my buddies.
That
it
sounds
was his mom.
fantastic.
It actually is. I mean, it's a lot healthier for you, and that's I guess the purpose for it too. So it doesn't use like all those fatty oils, and you're just
yeah,
not
that's
really.
the idea. How does an air fryer work? Wow, I didn't even type in air fryer, and that's what it gave me. No one knows.
How does air work? Like, that's like one of the questions in Google.
It cooks by circulating hot air around the food using a convection mechanism. A mechanical fan circulates the hot air around the food at high speed, cooking the food and producing a crispy layer via the Maillard effect.
Man ray.
So it's basically a really fancy.
It's a fancy oven. Yeah, it's like it's a more isolated oven kind of.
Yeah. So it's not as, it doesn't produce the same result as like if you were to deep fry something, but it gives you that, you still get that crisp that you would if you were to fry something in oil. So you can make like French fries, chicken, like wings. A lot of people throw wings in there.
Wings. Oh my god. You should try the wings down from Doughboys down the road here.
We go to Doughboys all the time. Dude.
Best wings I ever have, man.
I've never had their wings. You know what I always
Try their
get?
wings.
I get their cordon bleu sandwich without the ham or cheese on it, just the chicken and the sandwich. And they have a like a special.
So you get a chicken sandwich.
Yeah, they have it with honey mustard, like
essentially.
glazed in honey mustard. They have a pizza, a specialty pizza we always get. It's a barbecue chicken pizza. So it's like really
that sounds fucking
good.
Awesome. But yeah, try the wings.
That sounds good. We also, before that, me and Caitlyn had a DiGiorno pizza that it was ranch. It was ranch, bacon, and cheese, like pizza, and there's cheese stuffed in the crust too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And cheese and bacon stuffed in the crust.
Oh.
It was really good.
We're talking about food right now. Thanks for joining on the Food Patrol podcast, guys.
The Food Patrol podcast.
Episode 1.
All right. So
Damn,
we got one more question to get to real quick.
If there's another food question, we're just not going to answer it.
Lark wants to hear everyone's best call out for Lenny. That's a reference to Red Dead. Give me a drunken cowboy calling out the name Lenny.
That's not how I'm taking a shit right now. I'm just like, just say Lenny
just say Lenny like a drunk.
Lenny.
There you go. That was actually pretty good. Shawn, give me a drunken Lenny.
No.
Okay, I'll do it. Lenny, I'll just do it normal before he gets drunk.
Lenny, listen here, Lenny. I'm gonna stick my wiener in your what? Huh?
Yeah, dude. Man, that little tight, pucker up that little tight butthole. Mm-hmm. Train's on its way. Mm. All right, let's move forward, man.
I'm just kidding. I'm just. If a guy asks for Lenny, I'll give him Lenny. I was just being a wise ass.
Let me get it then, butthole.
What's the context? Give me my motive.
You're a drunken cowboy looking for your friend, and his name is Lenny. Like
he was in the saloon and he was taking one of the. There you go.
Lenny!
Reminds me of Shawn, the Shawn thing from what was that game called? Fucking his kid gets hit by a car. That's all I remember.
That's not a game.
Something rain, heavy rain.
Oh
yeah, you could get that glitch where
I never played a game, but I know I know what it is.
I hate
though.
those type of games, dude, because they're like you're paying more money for an interactive movie. But he was like screaming out, like you can get a glitch where it's multiple sound bites when you hit the button, but you can get a glitch where it's always the worst sound bite, like the one that's like the most profound. So you're like walking around inside a building, like screaming from the top of your lungs, Shawn, like blood curdling. It was a glitch that you can get. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, let's move forward. It's already been an hour. We still got a lot to talk about. All right, movies. What do we think's number one, boys?
I think Halloween's still up there.
What do you think, Shawn?
I am a meat popsicle.
And I will lick
What?
you. With a meat popsicle.
Is that a reference? Or
I got
something?
nothing.
That's being licked to me.
Oh,
By me.
okay,
For me.
nice.
In me, what?
All right.
Oh no.
All right. So number one is in fact Halloween.
I don't know.
31 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of 172 million worldwide. At number two, we have A Star Is Born, pulling 14 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of 254 million dollars. My sister and mom went to see that, and they did not like it. I thought it was just okay. I know it's up for multiple awards though, for both performances and shit like that. At number three, we got Venom pulling 10 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of 508 million dollars worldwide.
Dang.
$500 million. That's just the territory that comes with superhero. At number four, we have Goosebumps 2: Haunted Halloween, pulling a total of 62 million worldwide. What did it pull for the weekend? Pulled 7 million for
Probably
the weekend.
because it's the only kids movie out. Because that movie is garbage.
Yeah. And finally, at number five, we have Hunter Killer, pulling 6 million. Just came out this weekend. Is that submarine movie that has Gerard Butler in it. So, I have no interest in watching that movie. I don't know, something about submarines.
It looks bad. It looked like a indie movie.
Really? From the trailers? I haven't seen a trailer for it. I just saw the picture when I was looking at it.
Yeah. I don't see where they can... I don't know. I feel like the story is going to be like ass. Straight ass. Ass.
All right.
Ass.
All right. So we're going to push forward.
Oh, boy.
It's unfortunate because Gerard Butler is a good actor.
I think so, too.
Maybe he just likes subs. Or he lost a bet.
Yeah, maybe he did
I've
lose a
seen
bit.
some good stuff movies. The Hunt for Red October was
Oh, that's a classic, though. You can't
It's probably the best submarine movie
name
ever.
another sub movie other than The Hunt for Red October.
U571.
Okay, what you were supposed to answer?
Fuck, wait.
Oh,
I
'cause
have
I got,
one.
like, 3 more.
No, I have one. What's it called?
Start naming more,
It
Shawn.
was based on a Mattel board game.
Battleship?
Battleship.
Fuck out of here with that Battleship. That's not even... Fuck out. You sunk my Battleship. That was stupid, too.
It was dumb. It was
Yeah.
quite dumb. Aliens and shit.
Aliens and
It reminded me
shit.
of Transformers.
Yeah, I think it was Michael By? Michael. I thought it was by Michael By. I'm like, what, bro? Like, oh. Totally radical dude with the aliens, dude.
It might have been. I felt like it was.
We're like, there's some producers.
Okay. So let's move on to a review corner.
Welcome to Spooktober with the Thought Patrol podcast. Come in if you dare. You're in for a scare.
We got two films. Oh, actually, it's not our review corner. It's Spooktober. If you guys tuned in last week, you would have heard my
Spooky-ween-tober.
you would have heard my spooky sound bit I made that was really cheesy just for you all. That was super awesome. Demonic voices and witch laughter alike. But you just probably heard it again, so now you know what it is. But I think it's awesomely awful. I love it for that. So we have last week we brought up two more movies to watch for the week that we could talk about. We brought up The Apostle and Stigmata. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. We'll start with The Apostle because I have less to say about that than I do about Stigmata.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it.
You haven't watched either, so...
No,
what do you
exactly. That's
expect?
why I have less to say. Unfortunately.
So, Shawn, what'd you think about The Apostle? Well, if you go first, then I'll go. And then with the review at
I
the
think
end.
it was all style over substance.
I would agree with that, to be fair.
I mean, the cinematography was great. The period costumes and the buildings and all the set design was great. The story was dull. It was uninspired. It was not entertaining. And I think Gareth Evans could have done much better. But, I mean, he did The Raid, which was awesome, and this is not an action movie. It also seems like it homages a lot of the other cult films, like the original Wicker Man and that Cabot Cove witch movie thing. But I don't expect anybody to remember that because I barely remember it. But I don't know. It's dull. It's not my thing. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was average at best.
Yeah, I would agree. I loved the watch as a whole, just because, again, there was a lot. I think the director did a fantastic job. He might have just been working with a script that wasn't the best, but I think overall the directorial work was really good. I liked the film.
The cast was good.
Yeah, and I think the performances were good too. It's just you get down to it and you're like, why am I watching this kind of thing? It was a very slow burn. It felt more like a thriller than a horror movie. And then eventually they add a little bit more of a horror tinge near the end. You have like your monster and shit like that. But I think for most of the film, it was very much more of a mystery / thriller. This dude's trying to figure out what's going on, what's with these people, this cult, what are they worshiping, blah, blah, blah. But I would agree with you 100%. I think everything else besides the story and the pacing was really good. It was all very enjoyable, and I liked it a lot for that. But when it came down to the actual story, it was just okay. There's not really much to talk about with this movie, to be fair. Like, I was gonna say spoilers, but with this film, there really wasn't much there. I'm thinking I liked the gore, what I saw of it. I thought it was well done. It felt real. Like, I had to step away, or look away at least, from one of the scenes where they drilled out a kid's fucking head, practically.
Fuck yeah.
Like, think like drill bit like this large, Tyler, like the size of, okay,
Kyle's giving me a vagina hole and a finger.
Listening, flip
penis.
off your nearest parents, your nearest parent, whoever's close to you that's an authoritative figure, give them the middle finger and measure that middle finger, and that's how long the drill bit was. And then on top of that, maybe like the size of a can, there was a bore like surrounding the drill bit. So it would start with the drill into the scalp, like the top of the head, and then the bore would hit, which is like the size of a can twisting into someone's head, just completely fucked up his brain. And they stuck a flower in it, whatever.
Oh, beautiful.
I like the main character. I thought, even though at first he was more of like inquisitive kind of shit like that, he has several badass moments where he like steps up to the plate and actually does something I thought was really cool. Overall, yeah, it was like just a slow burn. A lot of it was a slow burn, and it's very easy to lose interest if you're not about that type of thing. So I'd have to give them
not that much to be interested in, and the plot twists were stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect any of it, but at least the major ones. But I thought that it was definitely something that was like, it almost felt like an homage to something else. Like they were taking the steps right out of something else. I agree with the uninspired aspect of it. It felt like a very safe thing. Like something that, like, we're not going to take too many big leaps or turns in any directions or anything like that. It's a very safe approach to the story from what I felt like. So what would you get it out of 5, Shawn?
2. I don't want to watch that movie again. Out of 5.
Nice. I'd probably give it about a 2.5 laudanum shots out of 2.5 laudanum shots out of 5. I think this movie was okay. Maybe actually make that a 3 laudanum shots out of 5, because I think that
I'll give it a 3.
the prop work, there was a lot put into making the feel of the movie good, and I think that that worked. It's just the story was just not that good. I give it a 3. Yeah. So I was thinking in respect to the other films that we reviewed, I think a 3 would be fair. I always try and do that. I don't know. So next we have Stigmata. I explained both these movies to Tyler a little bit ahead of time, and we actually had a little bit of a talk beforehand about what I felt about Stigmata, but we'll go ahead and get into it. I'll have Shawn start since he recommended it. Even though I was probably supposed to start last. Whatever, fuck it. But, so what do you think about...
Go last. I got pushed to talk.
What?
He's going last. He got pushed to top.
Oh, okay. That's fine. His fingers getting tired from holding it too long. All right, so with Stigmata, there's a few things that I don't like about this movie. There's fewer things I like about this movie. I like the premise of this movie. I think it brings up a pseudo-provoking idea, and I think for the most part, the pacing and acting and the story does a good job of servicing this idea, the thing that's being pushed, the point kind of the story. I did not like the editing in this film whatsoever. Now, I know it's a film that came out in 99, but it was very jump cutty all over the place. I felt like they, again, as horror movies always do, I don't feel like this was originally intended to be a horror film. It's labeled as a horror film, but I feel like it maybe wasn't originally intended to be one when it was shot, and then they added in horror elements post. I don't know how this movie worked or anything about it, but a lot of the shit that they added in that was like for jump scare purpose or like loud noises plus rapidly moving things, usually that's the formula for a jump scare, I didn't think serviced the movie whatsoever. I thought they were quite dumb, and there was a few scenes where there was a lot of jump cutting going around where I felt it wasn't necessary at all. Like when he first finds the statue in the church and he's taking pictures of it, I could see it maybe trying to push forward a feeling, almost like an unease. But when you do it the entire film, I think it loses that. Not the entire film, but multiple points throughout the film, I think it loses that momentum or that power behind that type of editing. And there was straight points where the music was good in this movie. I thought the music was pretty good, although I thought some tracks didn't fit with the overall theme of the movie. I thought that with all the jump cutting around, it almost felt like a cheap early 2000s MTV music video, almost like to that degree. And I could show you a little bit maybe after if you're interested, Tyler. But anyone that watched it, you can at least see the jump cuts. Whether or not you agree it serviced the film or not, that's up to you. But in my opinion, I don't think it helped with the story, because I think the story that they're trying to tell and the point they're trying to get across is a kind of serious one, depending on who you are, I guess. Because if it's something, because this is technically, there's religious topics in this film. So if that's not something that you believe in, it would have no effect on you whatsoever, believe or not believe in. So, but in my opinion, and from where I come from, being a religious person, I think that the idea, the theme they're trying to push, the rest of the film almost takes away from it in some sort, especially when they try and turn it into like they add the horror elements, because I don't think it was necessary, to be fair. I don't know. It's just weird, because it starts out, they give an idea, so we have a basis for where I'm coming from. A stigmata, or what a stigmata is, the idea behind stigmata. A stigmata refers to when Jesus Christ was crucified, he received 5 wounds. What are you looking at me? Why are you giving me that laugh, dude? So I'm looking at you in the eye and I'm giving you explanation.
No, I'm like, keep moving my pecs.
Oh, nice.
Constantly, dude.
Shaking
I'm just like
your titties.
shaking the titties for you, baby.
Nice, bro.
Talking about Jesus Christ. Let's do
Talking
this.
about Jesus. When Jesus was crucified, he received 5 wounds. Technically, there were more because he had 2 hands, but they count the 2 wounds that he received on his wrists as 1. The 2 he received on his ankle as 1. You had the crown of thorns on his head was a wound, the lashes on his back, and then finally the spear in his side, which is what killed him. A stigmata is the idea that a truly devout, or someone that's deeply connected with Jesus or God or whatever, would receive these wounds. Like they would have them physically manifest on their body as well. The movie refers to it as a gift from God. It's been seen as different things throughout, but a lot of people see it more. It's a gift from God. Like here, this is what Jesus felt. Have fun with that, and that's the idea behind stigmata. That term, that religious term. The movie basically revolves around the fact a woman that is an atheist who receives a stigmata. Now, from what I understand, because it's been busy, so not all this movie was spent me sitting in front of a TV at home. A lot of it was watched while I was on the go, trying to get shit dealt with today and doing other things. So from what I understand with this is that there was a father in Brazil that had passed away, and he had a rosary. Was it a rosary? It was like a little cross thing that was taken from him. It was sold in a pawn shop. The main character's friend found this rosary thing, and it was transferred over to the main character, and she had it. It was given to her as a gift. Now, what's revealed later in the movie is the stigmata, from what I understand, was coming from, she was possessed by the father. Like the father had taken hold in her body, kind of, the father that died in Brazil. And that's what was causing the stigmata. And eventually he was kind of exorcised out of her. But the main purpose was because the main character, dude, he used to be a father. He kind of went to the thing where he now uses science to debunk miracles across the world. So he tries his best to prove that a miracle didn't actually happen. So he's kind of taken a step away from his faith. And the whole idea was that showing him a miracle he can't debunk. So boom, he finds his faith again, basically. He's no longer on the science side of things. And I get that. I get that there's also an overlying theme that the Vatican, it plays a part in this, and that there is a gospel that I don't know if the father finds it from Brazil, the original one that dies, or if this is part of the miracle that bestows upon her. She recites this gospel, and it's an actual gospel. It's one that was found. The problem is what the Vatican has done with the Bible, at least, is because it is a recounting of a story. There are gospels that are considered non-canonical. That means like they have difficulty being able to gauge whether or not they actually are grounded in any sort of truth. Kind of get what I'm saying? So the gospels that we see in the Bible have been proven to be canonical, that they are actual accountings of Jesus' story. They're actual accountings of people that received the word from God, blah, 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 stuff like that. These are actual writings that were deemed historically accurate. There are some, though, that have been found that scholars have not been able to tell whether or not that they are canonically appropriate. And one of these is the second gospel it's the one they're referring to in the story, or in the movie. That's the second gospel of something. I don't remember exactly. But they find this gospel.
I believe it's Thomas.
Is it Thomas? I was thinking either Thomas or John, and they are direct, according to the gospel, they are direct sayings from Jesus himself. They are direct. So it's something that Jesus actually said. The problem is the Vatican was not able to properly denounce whether or not that they were. Like, if you had a dude who wrote on a scrap of paper that I watched Jesus turn a fish into a rhino, but that's the only thing said on the paper, how is someone able to tell whether or not that person actually saw Jesus turn a fish into a rhino? Usually that, depending on where it comes from, and the context within the writings, you gauge whether or not it's historically accurate from those writings. And with the second gospel of Thomas, they were unable to gauge whether or not it was canonical to the word, basically. So that's the idea behind that, at least, which is something they reference at the end of the movie, and that was what was going through the main character woman's head throughout most of the film, and things that she was writing. She had spoken in Armenian at one point, which was ancient language, which is said to be used at Jesus' time.
Did you watch this movie?
Huh?
You're getting a few details wrong. That was Aramaic.
Whatever. It
was specifically an offshoot of Aramaic that was only spoken in Galilee, where Christ grew up, and it was spoken by Christ and his apostles.
Ooh, you a bitch, Kyle.
I watched the movie or not? Yeah, I watched it.
Called you as a bitch.
Was I paying attention the entire time? Maybe not, because I was out. And the last half, with the last like 40 minutes of it, I guess not 40, because like 10 of it was cut, or like 5 of it was fucking credits. But that last bit. A few
small corrections. The priest was still a priest. He's what's called a holy investigator. He's out to prove or disprove miracles. And this movie presents the fictitious plot which actually did happen, where there was a period in time, which may or may not still be happening, where if something was found that threatened the power of the church, or more importantly, the authority of the church in the faith, it was declared heresy, whether they found it to be real or not, which is what they initially did with the Gospel of St. Thomas. When Christ said, split this piece of wood and I am there, lift that stone and I am there, look not in houses of stone and wood, but look within yourself. He was saying that you don't need a church to have faith. The church is yourself. You are the most important part of your faith. And for centuries, you had to use the church to talk to God in Catholicism. No, it's not that way now so much, but it was for a very long period of time. And when this was discovered, it shook the foundations of the church. And so they based this modern story off of the cover-up that happened back then. So this priest was one of the three that was charged with deciphering the text, and they were all deciphering different bits of text so that none of them could read the entire text, and therefore be potentially tainted by something that wasn't accurate or truly holy.
Yeah.
And the one guy realized what it was, stole it, and went to decipher the entire thing because he found out the church was going to bury it. However, he passed away before he could spread the word of the text. So he possessed her via the rosary to spread the word, and then the process was slowly killing her because she was suffering the stigmata as he was.
Yeah. It's interesting. Again, I think the premise is cool. And I like the idea of challenging anything that you have established in your life or something that you thoroughly believe in. It's always nice to challenge your beliefs every once in a while, because you can easily become stagnant in things that you
don't have to be too comfortable into something.
Yeah. So it's always good to, everyone says it's good to move outside of your comfort zone, search for things, do stuff like that.
Go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, dude. You'll definitely be outside your comfort zone in a few hours. But it's weird because it's definitely fictitious with the way that it goes about the story. And I like the idea of the story. I like the premise. But I just, in my standing and things that I believe in, it and I've heard the thing from other people too, that someone that would watch this film under the view of like a religious look at the film, it's almost kind of ridiculous. But if you just watch the film as a film, overall it's enjoyable, unless you're epileptic and you have a seizure from one of the music video scenes. But I think overall the movie wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. It was good from what I was fully invested in when I was invested in it, because it wasn't like something I watched all at once. But I thought it was a good recommendation. I liked the movie. It didn't, some of the things, when I got to the view of like, okay, this is just a film, it's really not, it's pushing a point across to a degree, but the point itself, it makes sense. It's not like the whole film has to make sense regarding that point. It's kind of weird because the whole idea is that like when it comes to religion, which is in my opinion, it's to a degree, it's a man-made thing, right? I think also on top of that, when power gets involved with that, there has been many accounts across history of Catholic leaders doing things to censor people or the word or things like that, that have caused issues. And who's to say that even the word that we have today hasn't been censored to a point, which I believe it's possible that it probably has been censored to a degree. Things have been edited out for something that's been translated so many different times and stuff like that. So that point being put across to challenge what you believe, take the time to look further into things that you have established in your life. That's cool. That's a cool premise. I like that idea. But it's just the way that the movie goes about it. If you're not looking for it, you won't see it. And then you just have kind of a silly, almost some people can even take negatively as a heretical or blasphemous take on of religion, which a lot of people have. This movie's got really shitty reviews, like really worse reviews than I think it should deserve, across the internet because of the way it goes about putting its premise across. So overall, I enjoyed the film though. I thought it was good. I'd probably give it like it didn't blow me away. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely things in there that made it hard to watch it sometimes. Mostly the editing. I really didn't like the editing, man. I don't know who the fuck they paid to do that, but maybe it was something they were doing like early 2000s, late 90s. I have no idea. But it didn't hold up to today, at least in my opinion. So I'd probably give it like three sexually transmitted stigmatas out of 5. You have anything else to add, Shawn? Did you actually say a review? Because I know you started. You didn't say anything, actually. Go ahead. What do you think?
When it comes to Stigmata, when it came out, one of the biggest positives that people said about it was the cinematography. They really liked the way that the mood was set. They liked the way the camera shots were done. I'm actually a fan of the movie. Full disclosure, I already like this film. I like the way it was cut. I like the editing. I think at certain parts they could have gone a bit softer, but I really like how they set things up. When it comes to how it handled faith, it's one of those movies where I believe it straddled the line between respecting a faith, because it didn't attack Catholicism and it didn't attack Christianity. What it attacked was the control of information. It attacked what the Catholic Church is known for doing with information, and that is only letting out what it sees. Just give me a...
God damn it.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah,
if you're still hearing me, Shawn, but it did, I think from what I saw, because I looked at this film, because I was seeing what other people were thinking about it, because it had it, the way it was done, it could seem like people could take it incorrectly, right? And a lot of...
It's easy to misread. Like, that's the thing.
Because when you technically have a religious figure in a community, which was the father that had passed away at the beginning, almost demonically possessing in the way that they shot it. It was kind of like something out of almost like an homage to the Exorcist. Like, she would sit up sometimes, you speak in a deep voice. Like it was in the tune of a demonic possession, at least as Hollywood has handled it, saying that a religious figure would come back from the dead, demonically possess a woman that had nothing to do with anything to get a point across. It kind of can be seen as something that's in a way blasphemous. That's what I was getting the vibe from other people that were reviewing or talking about the film. I agree with
that part. That part didn't make any sense to me. Like, when I walked away from the movie, I walked away loving the characters and I walked away enjoying the overall story. But one thing I did not understand was why or how a human spirit would possess somebody. Like, that's the one thing that I always challenged about the film. But the overarching story and the performances, the music, the ambiance, I like the way it was shot. As a fiction, I enjoyed it very much. And I do enjoy the fact that the main character, even though by the end of the movie, it's apparent to me that he's left the priesthood, he has also found his faith.
Yeah.
Like, they hint at the fact that he struggles with it through the movie. Like, and they say in the movie Constantine, there's a difference between knowing and believing. He knew that, to him, he knew Catholicism was real. He knew God was real.
Yo, bro, can we
but
watch
he was
Constantine?
Still struggling.
I love that movie.
He was still struggling with it.
I'm sorry.
But by the end of the movie, through his experiences, he had found his faith again. And not because of this fucking priest who was hurting this girl to do something that obviously God would not have asked him to do. Like, if God wants that across, he's not going to hurt somebody to do it. At least not these days. At least I don't think so. But that part of the movie, yeah, that was questionable. That was Hollywood playing around with shit to make plot happen. But the performances and the message of there can be faith without an organization telling you there is faith is the part that I took away from it and I enjoyed. I think Gabriel Byrne and Patricia Arquette did a great job. And that part is what I really enjoyed about it. But yeah, it was sacrilegious. At the time, the movie was actually fairly liked. Audiences liked it more than critics. Critics enjoyed the imagery and the cinematography, but they weren't so fond of the story. But I think I still am a fan of the movie. But the priest possessing somebody, that part is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't hate it because it was overall I thought the performances were good as well. It was overall a good watch. Like, I liked the main character girl, I liked the main character dude. Even though it had the flair of an MTV music video from the early 2000s with the editing sometimes, I didn't feel like the performances followed up with that kind of stuff. And I don't know, when it comes to the, I don't want to get too religious, it's weird. When it comes to that idea, I'm not a fan of dwelling on the more, it's so weird. Again, I just said I don't want to get too religious. We'll leave it at that. I like the film. When I just watched it as a film, it was good. I enjoyed what it was. I understand there's a lot of gray in our world and a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors, but it's always good. Again, that's why I really like the idea behind the film. I said that like 10 times, but I like the idea of challenging things that you've come to know, understanding that there is a definite form of censorship throughout a lot of what we know, and a lot of things happen behind closed doors that we aren't too aware of. So it's always good to kind of take that step back and challenge just anything that you have established in your life. So with that idea, I thought that was really cool, and I enjoyed that. But I thought that the rest of the movie was, like, besides the performances and the music, I thought the rest of the movie was kind of average. So I'd probably give it... Did I say what I give it?
You did.
Did I? Shawn, did I say what I gave this movie?
I just don't remember what the fuck you said it was.
Okay.
Something like molesting priest something or other out of...
No, I said that sexual... molesting priest.
I don't know, some shit.
It's a 3.
Was
it's
it
a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said molesting priest.
Or like some like sexual...
I would give it 4 sacrilegious Gabriel Burns out of 5.
Nice. I want to say it again because I really don't remember. I know I rated Apostle, the first one, because I gave that 3 laudanum shots or something.
Yeah, and you said something like touching a kid or something. I don't know. Fucking.
I really don't think I said that.
I'm pretty sure too. Maybe it's the thoughts, the voices in my head.
Talked about
you
that.
did not.
Yeah, I know we talked about touching kids before we started.
Maybe that's what it was. Wait, what? Wait a minute.
I would give it 3 early 2000s MTV crazily edited music videos out of 5 by Limp Bizkit.
Turn of the Millennium.
Is that early 2000s? Limp Bizkit? Is that close?
More like 90s.
Interesting piece of knowledge, though. The score and the music choices in the movie, that was all done by Billy Corgan. Like, he wrote the music for it. He chose the artist and the song for it. And that's, he's the lead singer.
Yeah, you gotta provide context there. So those are the movies. All this talk about, like, I want to watch Constantine now. Can we do that? Is that because that technically?
Everyone.
Are we doing one more? Technically, it's still October.
We're doing.
I know by next podcast we'll have.
We're doing
2 more.
And 2 next.
We're doing 2 more weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we started late.
Okay.
So we're gonna do 2 movies this week. And
I'm
2
glad.
movies next week.
Hopefully,
maybe you'll actually get to fucking watch them this time. You piece of shit.
I gotta watch these other 2 also.
All right. I don't have a movie. I could look for one real quick. Shawn, do you have a film we could watch? I know you always do, Mr. Cinemaphile.
I have plenty. I'm looking at the list now.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just let you pick the 2. What was I? Yeah. If you haven't watched them, or if you guys did watch them, let us know what you guys think. Hit us up on Discord, comments. What do you think of these 2 films? What do you think of what they were trying to say? Let us know. I don't think Impossible is really trying to say anything. All right, Shawn, what you got for us?
I'm going to choose one we have not seen before.
Okay.
Neither of us, and that's Vampire Cleanup Department, which is supposed to be a Japanese vampire horror comedy. And I'm going to choose the classic Fright Night, which is a classic 80s vampire movie that, unlike other classic vampire movies, not everyone has seen. I recently watched the reimagining, and although it was decent, it wasn't great, whereas the original is a lot more entertaining. Okay. So I think you'll get more out of that one.
Sounds good. All right. Do you know where we could find
this? This will be our vampire week.
Do you know where these movies can be found? Do you have any idea?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love how it just cuts out.
Okay. Vampire Cleanup Department is part of Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So you don't have to pay extra for that. Fright Night has to be rented either from YouTube or Amazon Prime.
Okay. YouTube Movies has a lot of fucking movies on there. It's crazy how many movies they have available. Bro, I'm super excited for Christmas, guys. I know we're in the middle of spooky. We're near the end.
There's already like decorations up, and like at like some stores now you can start buying that shit.
I love it so much. A lot of people aren't a fan of like shoving it down their throats early, but I fucking love it. I can't get enough of that shit. Just start playing the music on the radio already.
So I was at the chiropractor, and
okay.
so yeah, we're like flinging into this, but like I actually my normal chiropractor wasn't in, so I went to see this other person, and she actually doesn't believe in celebrating Halloween. So just her how she was brought up and stuff. She said she's like always kind of thought it was like some parts are like she found interesting.
It's like a straight Satan worshiping.
And I honestly think that's how she perceived it as.
Is she Jehovah's Witness?
No. But I didn't get too much into it because it was a little awkward, and also like I just wanted my back fucking realigned. But like
my back, please.
Yeah, I mean I just like small talk made up like, oh, you ready for Halloween? She's like, actually I don't celebrate Halloween.
It has like pagan roots and shit like that, like demonic worshiping and stuff. But what it is today is nothing near like
absolutely.
But
what
consumerist holiday?
Yeah,
just like
just fucking make money and shit.
Is.
Yeah, she just said that like she was just brought up in a household that didn't celebrate Halloween. That just they viewed it as like it was satanic. It was the devil's holiday or something like that. And I was like, oh,
don't send your kids outside. Get raped by dudes.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, well, to each your own. I mean, I have no problem with that. But I was like, I don't think I've ever met someone that openly, at least I've had a little bit or some sort of conversation with that said they didn't celebrate Halloween.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, well, that sucks for you, but
no candy for you.
No candy for you, motherfucker.
Yeah, okay. No, but no, it has a basis in what the founding of Halloween was or what it started as. But for the most part, what it is today is nothing like it. I think the only thing that we still share is the fact that there's, I think, jack-o'-lanterns had some kind of sacrificial ritualistic thing back in the day that they did, but it's just a fucking pumpkin with I made one that had Pikachu on it, for fuck's sake, so it's nothing like what it was originally intended to be. But I could see that, like, it's just, I don't know. I could see that though. I personally don't. Or I personally do celebrate Halloween. I fucking love Halloween. It's awesome. Same thing with Christmas. Favorite time of the year, boys. These 3 months. I love Thanksgiving too. I love stuffing my fat fucking face with food. All right. So with that out of the way, you got your 2 new movies for next week. If you forget them by the end of this podcast, they'll be in the description below. You can check out that there. You'll know where to get them, what they're called, where to rent them, where to watch them, blah, blah, blah. They'll be there.
As a side note, I recently watched a Kiwi comedy, horror comedy called What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know if I mentioned that last podcast. It's about 3 vampire roommates.
Okay.
And again, it's a New Zealand thing. As a movie, it kind of drags. It's much better viewed in segments, like watch like a half hour and then come back. But if anybody's ever interested in a decent laugh, it's pretty funny. It just kind of feels like it goes on too long. I think it would have worked better as a mini series cut up into bite-sized pieces. But if anybody wants to watch What We Do in the Shadows, it's very funny. It's on Amazon Prime.
You say carved turnips.
Oh, that's a Irish lantern made out of a turnip?
Yep.
pretty bad. You're looking at the history of Halloween.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot, so I'm not really going to go over a lot, but I'd definitely look into it. It's actually interesting.
Another thing, Christmas, some people don't put up trees because putting up the tree and decorating the tree originated in a pagan ritual.
Damn pagans.
So people don't like doing that stuff. But that's another thing people don't do sometimes.
That's how they got a lot of people to adopt Christianity, was to overlap Christian stuff with pagan stuff. So they took a lot of things and altered their original dates or their original meanings and incorporated the pagan rituals in with the Christian stuff and just changed the definition.
Yeah, and now everything's more consumerist than anything else.
So get this. So this is just a quick thing over Wikipedia about the jack-o'-lantern, since you brought it up.
Okay.
I was curious about it. I'm actually glad I found it this fast. There's a lot of information.
Yeah, dude.
But the development on artifacts and symbols associated with Halloween formed over time. Jack-o'-lanterns are traditionally carried by geysers on All Hallows Eve, or Halloween, just another name for it, in order to frighten evil spirits.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
All right. So, we have what to look for. We got a few games coming out this week, boys, and one I am quite excited for. So, we have Call of Cthulhu, the official video game, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC October 30th. I already have it pre-ordered. I'm actually waiting to fucking download it. Be able to do that tomorrow. We have The Quiet Man. It's like a Square Enix game. Apparently you play as I've heard things about it. You play as a blind man or something. And then near the end of the game, you get to rewatch your playthrough with sight.
What?
Or some shit like that.
That sounds badass.
Or it's either blind or deaf. And then you, at the end of the game, you get to play the game with the sight that you had lost the entire game or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't know what type of game it is. I think it's like an adventure walking simulator. And finally, we got Diablo 3, the Eternal Collection, coming to the Switch November 2nd. So that's cool. As we move into early November, we got Fallout coming out, and I think it's the biggest thing. Early November is Fallout.
Battlefield? Yes,
that's late November, I think.
Okay.
Actually, didn't they move Battlefield 5's release date?
I think they moved it. It was supposed to be in October. I think they moved it because of Call of Duty.
November,
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Battlefield would have gotten shit on because it released near Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption. I think they were all 1 week within each other or some shit like that. Would have been destroyed. Especially with all the hype around Call of Duty. There's like no hype for Battlefield, from what I've heard.
I don't know what...
I've heard more of the stupid. Controversy surrounding it with the women and all that shit.
More fun for
about
me.
The actual game. Yeah. All right, so we got a
fucking video game.
We got a few articles this week. Got 3 actually. Some things that are quite interesting. So I have them paraphrased. I'm gonna give you an idea of what's going on, you guys, and we'll talk about it real quick. So, PlayStation Classic has exclusive games in Japan, including 3 acclaimed RPGs. Now, these are exclusive. They are not coming to us, sadly, unless you get a
Japanese
PlayStation
version.
Classic. But Sony has announced the full lineup of games included in the PlayStation Classic, the miniature version of the company's first console. Unlike Nintendo's SNES Classic, the PlayStation Classic's appearance is the same regardless of where you buy it. However, the Japanese version has some different games. So I have a list here. We have... the Japanese game exclusives that they will be receiving that we won't. We have Ark the Lad 1 and 2, Armored Core, Gradius Gaiden. One's just called Psy. It's XI. The Saga Frontier, G Darius, and Parasite Eve. I know Parasite Eve has quite a cult following to it.
Armored Core 2.
Yeah. And the game exclusives that will be coming to the United States and the UK will be Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, the first Grand Theft Auto, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, which I've also heard has a cult following to it, the Oddworld franchise, Rayman, the first Rayman, which I think was the third-person one.
No, I think the first one was... I know 2 was, 2 and 3.
Oh, Rayman 2. So what was the first Rayman like?
3 was the 3D.
I don't know. I honestly,
first one's like the last one they released. It's a 2D.
It's a side. Okay,
I love the 3D.
Dude, Japan's getting a much better offering than we are. Like all of their games are. I've played every one of the games they listed. They're all good. And the one Destruction Derby, really? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
Cool Border.
Siphon Filter.
It's probably something with a copyright issue or something like that. Like I don't see why they would change
licensing problems. Yeah. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Twisted Metal. That's Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal is a good one. Twisted Metal is the last one. The PlayStation Classic releases worldwide on December 3rd, and the anniversary of the launch of the original PlayStation in 1994.
I like how they're kind of. I mean, everyone's hopping on this wagon because they see that the money that they're making. I'm waiting for Xbox to do one or something like that, or would actually.
What does Xbox fucking have? Looked at me, it's like I don't
know. Go fucking make a mini, and then there you go. Like make an original Xbox, like with the fucking Duke controller and everything.
We have rumors that I don't even know if they're confirmed, but Nintendo's doing a 64 one. Yeah,
I think there's been talks because they found apparently like evidence, like they were like the patent for like their controllers and stuff like that, which would be really cool. That's where I think that would be. I would like that. I never had an issue with them. I mean, they were weird, that's for sure. Just when I was a kid, like a fucking small ass hand, so I was like, yeah. Yeah, everyone's just hopping on the wagon. I mean, and I see no problem in it too because people are going to buy it regardless.
Yeah. And this one is a little bit more expensive. It runs at $99 though. So
you gotta think like I could see like the technology at the time.
I don't know.
I feel like maybe they're trying to pinch out a bit more too. Now, is it 2 controllers?
I think it's only one. I don't know. I'd have to look.
I don't know. I never really got. I knew I don't think I never owned an original PlayStation. But I never really played a whole lot of PlayStation games back in the day.
I didn't either
at all. Like maybe a little bit of 2. I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't one of those boys that grew up with PlayStation. So
yeah, I had a PlayStation 2, but then
I had like 140 games.
Damn, I had a PlayStation 2. I lost the memory cards for it. So
I heard that was like really important with like, the memory cards for PlayStation. Well, yeah,
you couldn't do anything. I mean, you can play the game, but you couldn't save.
What's like what are
you gonna do?
GameCube.
Just leave I left my PlayStation on. I eventually finished Jack, but that thing ran the entire time.
That was it. Like people left shit on. Like, that's what zip zop zoop zip zop.
You okay?
Yeah, I was like sitting over there. I might be stroking out over here now, but that's what people would do. I heard about that. They would fucking just leave their PlayStation running overnight or something like that, and hot as fuck.
Yeah, dude. All right.
Your mom turns it off, and it's like, kill your mom.
Yeah. So definitely, if you're more of an RPG fan, you have quite a few better titles sitting on the Japan exclusive one. So I might look into getting one of those, but I will not be picking one of these up. Tyler, you think you'd be picking one of these up?
No.
No? Mm-mm. Sean, you think you'd be picking one of these up?
I like the idea, but no.
Every time I try and pick up a mini, they're sold out, and God hates me. So I don't want to talk about it.
So you would like to pick one up, but you don't see yourself getting one because of the fact that they're so big. Hey, dude, there's always opportunity, man.
Yeah, PlayStation might do a little bit better than Nintendo because they're not retarded.
I think they would know, like, yeah, let's not like hold back, like let's give the people what they want. But watch them like fucking make so much, and it's like they make too much.
Yeah, I can see Sony doing that shit. All right, well, that's that. Again, December 3rd, if you're looking into that. Interesting thing about that is the anniversary of the launch of the original one in 1994. So 2 years before I was born. Almost 3 years before I was born. 2 years. It was December. I'm thinking the wrong way. Another interesting article is we have news, I guess. We have, because we're not doing articles anymore. Xbox Game Pass will expand to PC, says Microsoft. Microsoft does have plans.
That's what Xbox has, Kyle. That's what they have. Expanded PC. Suck a dick. No.
Well, I mean, hey, if they do this, dude, I might pick it up because they have a lot of fucking games on Game Pass. And it's like, it was like $11 a month or some shit. And cheap. To get access to all that stuff, if I could play
it's like Netflix.
Half of the Xbox library on my computer, I'd definitely be looking at that. I don't have an Xbox. I can't use it right now. And the only things they have on there now are their Play Anywhere titles. And they don't even have them all. Like, they used to have Sea of Thieves, but they took it off, and they put it back on for a month, so it's not there all the time.
The only game I know that I would ever play is probably, like, Halo Wars 2 or something like that. I think...
They have all the Halos on there.
Do they?
Master Chief Collection's there.
Really?
Too.
I actually just bought the Master Chief Collection.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the Xbox.
Yeah. They had a sale. I was like, about time. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would love to play like Halo 3 again, though.
Old times.
I did for a bit because they had the Russian version of it, or they had a Russian
version.
It was like a Russian fan-made Halo game, Halo 3, a remake. Yep. I had that for like the 2 weeks that it worked, and
I've seen it.
Just played the fuck out of custom games, dude. That
That's
was
awesome.
all it was. The first night, I was probably up to like 4 or 5 in the morning playing Halo 3 on PC. It was awesome.
Did you play that back in high school, like in engineering or anything like that? Like
we did.
In Mr. Heisenberg's class, we
did the original Halo.
Yeah, the Combat Evolve. You played like the online.
One dude had the cracked version
system
on
link.
his. The one dude had the cracked version on his
USB.
on his USB. So every time Heights and Raider took it off, he just came back in with his USB and started installing Halo Combat Evolved and everything. And the cool thing was, since it was cracked, it was also modded, so they had like different things, and we just did huge ass LAN parties.
Yeah, fuck yeah. There was another class I was doing it too.
Like everyone would join with stupid names. You had Grandma Queef join in, Hitler's hand grenade pop up, or some shit like that.
Good times.
Yeah, dude, those were the days.
Yeah, we like finished the test, and like he like would let us go in the back and just do like whatever, like fuck off for the rest of the class. That's what everyone did after they finished the test.
Yeah.
Good times.
Bro, I was so mad. You know how they made a crane at one point?
Yeah.
We were doing really good, made my crane. I was all set up. I came into class one day, and I couldn't find it on the shelf. I'm like, where the fuck's my crane? I went to the back. Now, for context for the situation, we made structures out of balsa wood, which is like a really kind of...
It's a cheap...
really, it breaks easily, so you have to be very good with your design, use the proper shapes, whatever. It was an engineering class. So your first year
bridge.
Yeah, first year you make a bridge, and you test how much weight it could hold with the balsa wood.
Ours held like 35 pounds.
I think mine was around there too. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I never got to test my crane. Let me finish my story. So we had the crane. It was all good to go. It was actually like the day before our crane was going to be tested, and I went to go look. So I wanted to check something on it because I think one of the sticks had cracked or some shit. I don't remember exactly what it was. I couldn't fucking find it on the shelf where all the other cranes were. So I'm like, I went looking around. I looked in the back, dude. I found our board like on the floor upside down underneath one of the like not the 3D printers, but one of like the CAD machines back there, and just like a graveyard of glue and balsa wood. And I was like, what the fuck happened? So I told him, I showed it to him, and he's like, oh, I could just give you a C since I can't really gauge how well or good it was. And I'm like, I just nothing I could fucking do.
As long as you pass
tomorrow, I can't. It took us 2 weeks to make this thing. We gotta do it again.
You do all the editing and shit like that. Fuck
yeah. I was fucking distraught. And then we went back and played Halo Combat Evolved.
I was gonna say, like, are we talking about? We're talking about wood? Oh yeah, video games.
Yeah.
Good times.
All right. Another article. So yeah, Xbox Game Pass will be expanding to PC. Microsoft has plans to expand the Game Pass subscription service from Xbox One to PC. According to CEO Satya Nadella, reportedly mentioning during an earnings call that bringing Game Pass to PC will help increase the strength of the Xbox brand. Blah, blah, blah. I paraphrased too much, dude. Fucking shit. All right. So they don't really know exactly how the extent of it will be, if they'll be just adding more to the Play Anywhere, from what I understand, or if they'll just straight up take the pass as it is and grant access to PCs. The problem is they'd have to make every game on the pass a Play Anywhere title. Because the thing right now, the way it works with Play Anywhere is when you buy a game on Xbox, you have that game on computer as well. So say if you bought Sea of Thieves on computer and you buy an Xbox, you can download Sea of Thieves on your Xbox too. You can play it both ways. That's the Play Anywhere initiative thing that they're doing. So what they're deciding is whether or not, if they do push this pass over to PC, if they include the Play Anywhere with that, because then you'd have someone get a double copy of everything on the pass, and I don't know what kind of issues could arise from that. So here's to hoping. I would like to be able... I know that the next Halo Infinite, they said will have a PC port, so that's pretty cool. I'll probably be picking that up. But if they do add every every Xbox Game Pass to PC, that'd be definitely something that would help kind of bolster the brand a bit, give them a better standing, because... I mean, you literally only have one option, and that's whoever owns an Xbox. But if you expand to PC, that's a whole nother market of gamers that you can't really tap into unless they have an Xbox. So that was definitely something interesting. Here's to looking forward to that. That'd be pretty cool. And then maybe it'd be cool to see them implement some form of crossplay too. What if they come out like in a year or a few months or whatever, Xbox Game Pass, and now any game that's on Game Pass has crossplay between Xbox and PC. Everyone would fucking have a huge market,
and
flip.
Absolutely.
So it'd be pretty
tear
cool.
Down the wall.
Yeah, dude, that'd be a good way to push them forward. I don't know if they have plans of doing that, but whatever. Next, we have a Fortnite developer Epic has signed another really large deal. They have another set of my damn dog's at the door. Bruce being noisy as always. They have another set of companies that are willing to invest in basically Epic as a whole. They had announced a few days ago that they had secured $1.25 billion in funding from a number of venture capital companies. Not only that, but the Wall Street Journal does report that Epic Games, which is based in Cary, North Carolina, is now valued at a massive $15 billion.
Damn.
There are 7 new companies that joined, involving Tencent, which is a Chinese company, Disney, and Endeavor, all of which previously invested in Epic Games at various funding levels. Tencent did pay a reported $330 million for 48% controlling interest in Epic back in 2013. So, Fortnite continues to grow. Epic as a whole continues to grow. They are literally milking the fuck out of this golden goose that they had found with
they're doing it
with Fortnite. I mean, all power to them. It's cool because it's not like PUBG where they just kind of sat on success and didn't really do anything to change the game.
They're continuous.
They have done everything in their power to keep this game new and interesting to the people that are playing it, and they are reaping the benefits from it. So it's really cool to see Epic do this well. I mean, it is.
You have to watch out for Tencent though, because that's not necessarily the most reputable company, and they've set aside a company goal of only doing online massive open games like that. They have zero interest in any form of one player.
Oh yeah, no, they're solely invested in multiplayer. They actually own League of Legends.
Oh, really?
They're the company that bought out Riot Games a few years back, so they own that game now, or that also conglomerate. Man, Tencent is fucking huge. It's crazy how much. That's how China's going to get back at us, dude. Shut down all the video games.
Yeah.
If Fortnite goes down for 2 days, kids will be riding in the streets doing Fortnite dances down as they raid stores and shit. It'd be all over the Instagrams or whatever.
The Instagrams.
Yeah. So you have one more article. Apparently, we have another big update coming to No Man's Sky soon, called the Abyss update. Hello Games has announced the next titled update to come out for No Man's Sky. Again, called the Abyss. According to Hello Games founder Shawn Murray, quote, it focuses on some of the eerier elements of No Man's Sky. We have received no idea of like what this update entails whatsoever. They could literally just add a new filter to the game and we'd have no idea. It's going to be no way near as large as the next update, which they released recently, that completely overhauled the game, made it a bit more interesting, added multiplayer in it finally. So there is now multiplayer in No Man's Sky, which is pretty cool. You could explore the universe with your friends and stuff like that.
How long?
It was 2 years, I think, it took to release multiplayer. So at least they're still supporting the game. You got to give them that. They could have easily just taken tail and run with the money, but they really want to see this game succeed to some degree. And with Next, they saw quite a bit of success. There's a lot of people. It went from, on Steam, it went from mostly negative to like average. Which is like 2 levels you have to move.
That's a big jump.
So a lot of people were digging on No Man's Sky when Next came out and enjoyed it for what it was at that point. Now, if they would have taken the time and let it release at that date, again, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. So it could have been something with PlayStation shoving down their necks, like we got too much hype, we got to release this now, we'll work it out later. We don't know. So that's interesting. I'm glad they're still supporting the game. To all you that do play No Man's Sky, power to you. I liked it for what it was when it did launch. I played it for about 50 or 60 hours on launch and enjoyed it for what it was again. But I'm a big fan of space exploration, so it'd take a lot to disappoint me in that regard. So finally, we've come to our main topic. Although we talked about it a little bit earlier, we'll talk about it a little bit more now, or it'll be just kind of me talking about it, and you guys can provide whatever you think opinion-wise. But as we all know, everyone tuning in, Red Dead Redemption 2 released within the last week, and a lot of people are loving this game. Now, I think that what they did with Red Dead Redemption 2 has kind of, in a way, redefined open world games, I think, kind of set a new bar, kind of like what Witcher did with open world RPGs and quest design, kind of set a new bar. Like here, this is something that you guys should try and adhere to in the future. Keep up, like if something, like say, I'm thinking, if another game comes out that follows the same formula of Red Dead Redemption 2 and does not exhibit the qualities that it had in the game, people will be disappointed, kind of. It set a new standard. And I think I'm just going to talk about how I think it does that with the way, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the way that it creates that connection between the player and the world.
Real quick, when did the first one release? Was it like 08 or something like that?
First Red Dead Redemption, I can find out. Give me 1 second.
Or like 2010. I want to say it was like between 2008 and 2010.
I think so. When did Red... Oops.
So I wonder like how long they've been working on this one for. Like at what point?
It's like 8 years, I think.
So
7 or 8 years. When did Red Dead...
So they probably started shortly after the first release.
Redemption come out. Here we go. It released back in... I have 4% on my phone.
Oh boy.
It released back in 2010. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 years.
Dang.
Oh, May of 2010. So yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, but did they start like that's what I mean? Like, did they start right away on production of this game?
Last time I heard, I think it was like 7 or 8 years, something like that.
That's a long time to make a video game.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. It shows you how much, and that's if it shows you where it pays off. Like you're saying, that's the amount of detail that they put into these games, and like it just changes the outcome of what open world means. Then I mean,
I think so. I think a lot of it is when it comes down, it shows you that focus to detail, or that focus of the attention to setting up a world that you can impact so greatly really helps push something. Because like I was saying earlier, the story itself, besides the acting, which all the acting is fucking phenomenal, but you'd expect that out of a Rockstar game, but the story itself is overwhelmingly average. It is so, or one could say underwhelmingly average, but it's so incredibly average. If the game was not the way that it was, and was not didn't have as much of a focus on keeping you constantly interacting with the world and stuff like that, and having a world that, again, truly feels persistent, like you have a world that you feel is evolving around the player as the story progresses. It's not just you've been plopped in and go do things. You really truly feel like when you do something, you are having an impact on the rest of the game. And the way that the missions go about and the story kind of envelops, the story itself's average, but I think the way that the story is told is good.
I think a lot of Rockstar games are like that. Like their stories are never really like over the top, like awesome, but I mean, it's everything around it that leads up to it. That kind of gives. I mean, like because I
bumps it up, right?
Like playing, like I played GTA 4. You know, the Tales from Liberty City, The Lost and Damned, 5. I played Bully. I liked Bully a lot, but at the same time, it was still like it wasn't the best story, but there was a lot going on around it that really kind of made you get sucked into it. So I feel like, I mean, it's a good formula that they've stuck with.
And I think a lot of the time they've been, I think throughout their games they have tried to push I feel like they've kind of come to a point where they've kind of cemented down exactly how to do what they want to do with their games. Because with GTA 5, GTA 4, and the GTAs, you always kind of had that. Like they tried to push the feeling of you were in a living, breathing city. You were doing things that kind of impacted the world, not to the degree that we see now in Red Dead 2, but there was always, you could kind of see it there that they were trying to do that. Now, I don't know if it came down to the talent that they had there or the technology at the time. I have no idea, but now it feels like they fully cemented what they wanted to do, or what they're trying to do with this formula, this gaming formula. And
I feel like they really hit it off after GTA 5 came out, because I mean, I remember there were advertisements for that, and then it became like one of the fastest selling video games of all time, or like they made like the most money or something like that.
It's one of the top selling. I think
it made more than like some like movies out there too. Yeah. And then they continued to grow off of it too, which is like the best. Like you could still play that game today, and they're still doing stuff with it, which is awesome. Yeah. I haven't played it in a long time. I just never had anyone to play with. The other Tyler is like the only other person I played it with for like a little while, then because all you guys had it on PlayStation and he had it on Xbox, and that was it. But
no, I feel you, and I think a lot of what created GTA 5's success was the online service. The online service, which we have not yet seen in Red Dead 2. It's not out yet. I know that they're releasing a beta for it early November, which is soon, next week. If they continue down that line with Red Dead 2, keep it all free updates, keep that same formula, I think this game can easily outsell GTA 5.
Really?
Over the course of its time.
I like that too, where it's like you get a fair game too, like your money's worth. Yeah, you actually get a good quality game.
GTA 5 sold over 90 million units and made $6 billion in revenue.
And that's from release till now.
Yeah, from this article came out April 9th of 2018. GTA 5 has made more money than any film, book, or game in existence.
That's what it was. That's that right there, man.
Yeah,
that thing goes down. That goes to like the freaking some whatever history book deep down within whatever something in like underneath like the Library of Congress or something.
Definitely, like you have made an impact on the world. That's insane. And Fortnite's rapidly approaching.
Yep,
it's crazy to think about it, but that doesn't count. Free to play game, that doesn't count. Fuck that. But it's just if they continue to support this game the way they did GTA 5, I could easily see it getting to that point or going over that point because GTA 5 had a decent foundation that they expanded upon, but now you have an even better foundation. So if you just stick to the theme of the game, obviously you don't want to be driving cars in Red Dead Redemption 2, but stick to that theme and continue to support it that way, you can easily have this game just completely fucking dominate sales records. And I think so far to this point, it's done incredibly well already. I don't know how much money it's made at this point. I don't even know if we could find that out. I know, but kind of Google this shit ahead of time like a proper podcast host.
Right, I'll keep talking. I remember when I played the first one, I don't think I played it like right away when it first came out, but I remember playing it, and I think at first I didn't like it all that much until I kept getting further into the story, and then I like the more and more I felt like, and I actually enjoyed the Wild West aspect of it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed like going over like I think it was like Mexico or whatever. I like the traveling and stuff, and it really did look beautiful. I mean, they got the landscape right. It felt like you were just thrown in Wild West. You go through those little like passerby towns and stuff, and like it felt like just like what you would see in like old Western movies or like a cartoon even too, like some old Boomerang thing. Like I can't remember like whatever show it was. Like I think there was like some like Wild West show or something. But just like that little town in the middle of freaking nowhere, and then some shit's going on there, and there's some crazy people going over here, and save this cute girl. She got tied up on a railroad track or something like that. You have to go save her. But I liked it, and I liked it was a Deadeye or Deadshot or something like that. I like that implement too. That was a lot of fun.
You guys played the original?
The first one,
yeah, I did too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know a lot of people had played Red Dead.
Yeah,
I played a shitload of it.
I think I actually replayed it. They made it. I want to say they made it free for Xbox like 2 years ago, maybe when they were doing their games for gold. I want to say it was for free.
I liked the story of the first one more than I liked the story of this one so far.
I'm surprised they haven't remastered it.
This is the third one.
What?
There was Red Dead Revolver.
Oh no, I didn't play that. Yeah. No, I don't.
We're talking about the first Red Dead Redemption, not Red Dead Revolver. I haven't played Red Dead Revolver.
That's not even like a direct like sequel. It's like a side.
Well, it's the first game of the franchise, and it kind of gives an idea, but it's nothing like what Red Dead Redemption.
Oh no, I'm talking about just Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever
But
heard
technically,
of
like canonically, in that world and stuff, and those developers, it's kind of the first game of the franchise.
Was it also by Rockstar?
Yeah. You Googling now too?
Yeah.
You got like a Google session going on. Yeah. But I think, again, I'm trying not to spoil anything here, but I think...
Oh. What the fuck? Oh, it's an older game. Yeah, I remember seeing the cover of this.
But definitely, if you sit down and play the game, whether you like cowboys or not, one thing I think everyone can pull out of this game is that it is very meticulous throughout a lot of what you do, the way you interact with the world. Again, I think this word has been thrown all over the place, but living, breathing world, persistent world. That is hands down the feel that they were trying to push forward with it, and they nailed it right on the fucking head. This game is what you would look at, like if you were to look up those terms in the dictionary, this is the fucking picture you'd see next to it. This fully defines, again, if not redefines, what we knew about these words and brings it into a pretty, like this game is fucking gorgeous too. One problem I have with the game though, there is a fuckload of dynamic resolution in this game. Now, I understand why. We're dealing with tech that's like, what, like 6, 7 years? When did the PS4 come out?
2014, 15?
I have no idea. But we're dealing with very old tech compared to what's available today, right? So they're having to develop for older stuff. Makes sense. Dynamic resolution is nicely a new technique that's come into play within the last few years that they can implement into the game. Now, dynamic resolution is basically the game engine for, we know what all render distance is. If something is away from the player, a render distance is how far something will actually exist in the world.
Like how it'll show you.
Think of it like you have a bubble around your character.
Same thing as draw distance.
Yeah.
And when you pop in, like
if something
close to it, it'll pop up.
If render distance is badly done, you'll see pop in.
It's like Wind Waker.
You don't want to see pop in. Now, dynamic resolution works kind of in tandem with render distance, where the further an object is away from the player, that object's actual resolution will alter. So if the game runs at 1080, right? A tree that is maybe 50 to 100 meters from the player, wherever that starts to kick in, that tree can be in like 480 to 240p because it doesn't matter, and it saves the computer or the hardware processing power. But the thing is because everything's done in engine in this game, the camera moves around a lot for like cinematic shots, and sometimes you can see that the system's catching up with the dynamic resolution.
Sounds like some aliens calling a marine shit to me.
So the game pops into where your camera is, and sometimes I've heard people like if the camera moves quickly around, you can see everything gets really fuzzy for like half a second. That's the dynamic resolution catching up. Like, oh shit, the camera's over here now. Everything needs to be back in 1080p and not looking like fucking shit.
Hurry!
So now it's really not all that bad. If you're looking for it, you can definitely see it. But if someone isn't looking for it or just playing the game, it really doesn't truly affect you until you see the whole thing with the camera where it has to catch up, because I've had that happen a few times already. But overall, the way what am I trying to say? The way the horse implements the gameplay with the horse and how you take care of your horse, the way you treat your cores, keeping all that up to date. It never gets to the point where it's annoying. Like, you don't have to eat often. It's always to kind of keep everything kind of stabilized. You can get underweight or overweight if you eat too much, too little, stuff like that. But it never becomes a point where you're playing like Ark, where it's like, oh shit, I got to eat, or something like that, or you got to eat every 30 minutes. It's always to the point where it's never annoying. It has not annoyed me a single time since I've played, and I'm probably like 35. I think I'm 35% through with the game. I don't know if that's overall completion or the main story completion. I'm not too sure, but I think that just everything that they've put into setting up a world that you can truly explore and fully impact, I think really does wonders for the game. And if it wasn't that meticulous and diverse, I would not give a fuck about this. I would not give anywhere near as much of a fuck about the story as I do. I really like these characters. I really like this world, and I really enjoy both the main character. It's cool because it is a prequel. You're in Dutch's gang before everything else that happens, and John, what's his name from the first game?
John Marston's
in the game. Yeah, you see how he gets his scar. You see all that. You actually help him through that. He's a character in the game. You do missions with him, so it's cool to kind of see him in a younger state. And Arthur's an awesome fucking dude, the main character. He's really cool. I have him kind of the way he's dressed up in my game. He kind of looks like Chuck Norris.
Fuck yeah, that's badass.
Every once in a while I look at him like, oh, he looks kind of like Chuck Norris. But I'm absolutely loving the game. I think this game is definitely going to get Game of the Year in one degree or another. And the only issue I've heard from people is that the story is a slow burn, and the fact that some of the NPCs look like fucking hand puppets. Like, because some of the model design, I can say on some of the just the random characters you come across, if you're getting like one of those like cinematic camera shots where the faces of people talking as you talk back and forth, some of the NPCs don't look too good. I'm not gonna lie, but that's the only two complaints I've seen.
But are there titties?
What?
Are there titties?
There's titties. You could pay for a woman to wash you in the bath.
Oh.
It's 50 cents.
Fuck yeah.
But it's so much slower than actually doing it yourself. It's ridiculous. Because, like, your face gets dirty if you fall or if you get beat up. Like, if you get punched in the face, wherever you got hit, you got a bruise there, and it lasts for some time. If you kill and skin an animal and you wrap it over your shoulder, you get blood all over your clothes. Eventually it will, you don't have to wash your clothes. Again, it never gets to the point where it's annoying. Eventually it will disperse. Your horse can get dirty. I had one time, it was raining, and I got off to do a mission, or turn in a bounty. It was turning in a bounty. And I'd stopped to hitch my horse, and I had stopped at a weird angle. So I went to hop off the horse. My foot got stuck on the hitching post, and he just like rolls forward and face plants into the dirt. And I had just taken a bath, so I was fucking pissed. And I was covered in dirt again.
Damn it.
And
time to go get that hooker to clean me again.
yeah, dude, rub my wiener. And then it's just, I had just funny things. Like I had, we had stolen an oil tankard, and
you bad
they
boy.
had people on the side. And I had went by a sign that was telling where all the towns were. As I went by the sign just clipped one of them in the head and just launched him off the back of the fucking tanker, and he just flew off into the distance. But besides that, a lot of it was just funny things with the engine not properly working. But the strangers are back from the first one, so you kind of have like those weird
random
characters
occurrences.
You run into.
Yeah,
They actually
you.
have. Again, the help with the persistent world, they actually have things called random occurrences, not the strangers. Those are more like side quests. And then the random occurrences are like that dude that got bit with the snake, and I had to help him, and I found him in town later. They all progress. Like
I'm sorry, go ahead.
there's like a lumber yard that you come across, like, we're running low on supplies, can you help us? If you come back a few in-game hours later, or a few in-game days later, that house that he was building is complete. And now sometimes they get attacked, and again, everything is to reinforce the fact, living, breathing world. And it's so well done. It's insane.
I was going to ask you, how's like the weathering effect and all that stuff? Like, do you
Really
encounter
good.
like certain times of like the day or whatever, it'll just start raining all of a sudden? Or like if you go to like certain like different areas of the map, because I know like I heard it's pretty big. Like, is there regional like topography and like, you know, more mountainous, more like nothing over here? Oh, there's snow over here.
You have areas where there's
more
much
forest
colder.
over here.
It's much colder, and the map's very nice. There's a lot of areas that are truly like picture quality, or picture things, like take a screenshot. Problem is the end-game photo mode's kind of shit. It's like a camera, kind of like how they do in GTA 5. You pull out your cell phone and take a picture. You have to do it the same way. You pull out a little fucking camera and you have to take the photo that way, compared to like Spider-Man, where you just hit start and boom, you have access to the photo mode and you can do everything. It really, I've taken maybe 2 photos because it's just, I don't want to. The game doesn't pause. It really make it a pain in the ass to take a fucking picture. I'd rather have like an in-menu photo mode that's a lot easier to use. But there are truly some very pretty areas in this game. Like they have towns that have like the red clay dirt. So there's like sand that picks it up, and it's like a nice town with white houses, but you have like orange dust like moving around. It's very pretty, very pretty.
Attention to detail.
Yeah, everything. That's like their MO. Think of it that way. Their MO is, how can we add more detail here? They could pick up items in the shop. How can we add more detail here? Oh, you actually buy it yourself. How can I add more detail here? And then they just keep asking that question. It sounds like they had one dude that his whole job was like, this is cool. How can we add more detail here? That was his whole fucking job. Sir, what if the horse's nuts shrink? That's cool. How can we add more detail here?
the hairs, individual hairs on the nutsack of the horse.
Yeah, they become
have one like
droopy.
fall off
They
if
become
he's
droopy
like
when they get wet.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a really good game so far. Even to the point, I mean, if you don't like cowboys, like how Shawn is not a fan of Western stories and stuff like that, since the story isn't amazingly crazy, like over the top or anything like that, I can't really recommend the game to him. Even if I think that what it has done is almost a marvel to.
It's not even like a option to like, you know, try it, like just to see. But
I mean, the problem is trying it in this day and age, you'd have to buy it unless you could borrow it from somebody. If you can try it, I highly recommend it, especially if you like video games as a whole, or you like how video games have progressed or anything like that, because I truly think that this game is like a milestone for open world games. I really think so. And in what they've done, kind of like how The Witcher 3, I've never finished that game. I've played it to a certain part like 5 times. I'm not a fan of the setting. How like Shawn isn't a fan of the Western setting, so I cannot bring myself to finish it. I can't get invested in the game, and for a game that could be 500 hours long, if you do everything, it's just not something that is palatable to me. So, it's a thing. Try it. if you don't like it, that's fine, but I could still sit back and recognize, hey, this is something that is truly special. But for Red Dead, I actually do enjoy it. Time just fucking melts away in this game. I've talked to everyone that I've talked to that plays it, like they're accidentally up to like 3 or 4 in the morning because they're just playing the game, and you get lost doing something, and then something else comes up, and there's just so much to it. Again, like meticulously, they comb through the entire game.
I can be impressed by the accomplishment without playing the game.
Well, I mean, you can, you could look at it on paper and say that's cool, but you won't get to experience the accomplishment. And I understand not wanting to play the game, because that's how I am with Witcher, like 100%. Like, I don't want to play that game.
I try to get into Witcher 2.
And I'm also not a fan of starting, like, already into a dude's story. And I don't want to play the first 2 games, so the fact that I'm not starting from the start of a story is kind of weird. But I could look at that game and say, like, from what I've experienced, quest design, phenomenal. It does the same thing that Red Dead kind of does, where it's a persistent world.
It just wasn't for you, but you understood its importance and what is it good, you know. I do recommend trying it though, because you could say something is good, but like you haven't like truly experienced it, so it's kind of weird to. I don't know. Did you pre-order the game? No. No. Okay. Oh, I guess I technically did. I bought it the day before it came out. Oh, I'm saying like if you actually pre-ordered, like did it come with anything that was like special? You know, they always do that now too to get a little extra money. I didn't like the additions they did for this game. Like if you get an ultimate edition, you actually get additional in-game missions. So it's like, oh yeah, these aren't that important. Let's take them out and make people pay for more money to get the game. That's probably get more money. Take-Two doing their shit, but I'm not a fan of stuff like that
That's what they do. Rockstar has this fucking pay-to-win strategy on their online shit, and then their games, when they release content with the actual games itself, when they have done DLC, it's normally not fantastic. Like with the online, they did a lot of fantastic DLC, but the grind is equal to that of a free-to-play grind. And if you want to get anywhere in their online shit, you have to fucking buy the currency. Most of the people that have a shitload of stuff, like the really cool stuff in game, somebody did the math, and it would take like 30 years or some shit to get one of the best cars if you were playing in game without the money, without buying the cards. Like they really railed that system.
I don't know. I would check that dude's numbers. That's bullshit.
I'll find the article for you. It's pretty brutal. Like they had some math guys go at it. Maybe early version of the game, but with the heist and all the shit they implemented as the years passed, you can easily rack up enough money to get like the best car in the game, which is like 3-something million. You can do that in a few days if you have a team that's willing to do it with you. By yourself, it's probably more difficult. Maybe that's what they were guesstimating, because you can't heist. I mean, you can heist by yourself, but if you're heisting, you can make that money like nothing. It's quite easy. So I don't know. Maybe they're thinking of a different build of the game before they added the heisting into it. Possibly, I have no idea. But I'll be honest, I don't remember if that was before or after they incorporated heist.
Yeah, because with its current state, the grind isn't that bad whatsoever. Because when we played it, I had to restart when I picked it up on PC on sale, and I was able to get like really good stuff within like a few weeks of playing. And most of the time was just spent leveling up to actually get the stuff. So I don't know. I still am kind of at a weird spot with the online for Red Dead, because I don't know how the hell they're gonna make it as enticing, because you're not getting badass flying motorcycles or whatever that shoot missiles. You have horses. So I don't know what they can do to give people a reason to grind. You kind of get what I'm saying. I don't know, but like the version shit's stupid. Also, I don't know why I remembered this, but if you have Soul Calibur 6, I might actually buy this game now. They announced that 2B from Nier Automata is coming to Soul Calibur 6. Like, because she's like an actual character that they're making into the game. Because they have a create a character thing, and everyone was making her, like, left and right. But she's actually becoming a character. She's the next guest character in the game, which is really fucking cool. I'm, like, so excited. I just want to, like, see more gameplay of her, because all I've watched is the reveal trailer, and she looks badass as fuck. And they're also adding in a stage, and the stage has one of the best songs from the soundtrack. So that alone has me super fucking enticed to pick that game up. Maybe if it goes on sale at one point. We have Christmas around the corner. We'll see what happens. But that alone has me excited to pick up that game just to like learn how to play her in a fighting game. It'd be really cool. But yeah, I'm not a fan of taking content out of the base game to sell in like an ultimate edition. And a lot of people bought the ultimate edition, which is like $100 or some shit. I'm not about that kind of garbage. Ubisoft does that shit too. EA does that shit too. I don't support that kind of stuff. So I just bought the standard version of the game.
Good man.
Yeah, it's like you get a couple horses, you get 2 extra missions, but I'll watch someone play it if I really care that much. I'm not spending an additional $40 for that bullshit. That's stupid. Hey, if you did, power to you. I've decided to not in this situation. I don't think it's right. What else? That's about it, I'd say, for my opinions on Red Dead. I didn't want to get into spoiler territory, obviously, because it's still very new. But I really do like the game where it's at right now. Super excited to see the online. We got Hector, Tyler, me, Perry. A bunch of people bought it, so might be doing train heist or something at one
That'd
point.
That'd be badass. That was the first thing I thought about. I thought about like, oh, they do heist.
You kind of do it. You kind of do a train heist early in the game, where you like blow up the tracks and you jump on the train. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You could actually rob any of the trains in the game. You just have to stop it or hop on from your horse, and then you can go through and like rob people at gunpoint, like give me your watches and shit or whatever, and go sell it at a. It's a good way to make money. But yeah, I'd love to see like the level of like gameplay and writing that was in the heist in GTA 5, but in a Western environment. Like, I think that'd be really cool to see what kind of shit they come up with that still fits to the theme of the game. So yeah, I'm excited to get into that when that does come out. I'm gonna have to fucking buy PlayStation Plus again, so hopefully it's worth it. We'll see what happens. Besides that, that's it, man.
I look forward to eventually getting. I know it's gonna be a while before I probably do, but Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man, and
oh, you haven't bought Spider-Man yet?
No, I'm waiting for the deals, man. That's what I'm saying. It's like probably like next month, Black Friday.
The first part of the DLC
and God of War. Still need to buy that shit.
The first part of the DLC came out, and I heard it was incredibly lackluster.
Antonio got it. He said he liked it, but yeah, it was very empty though. Like it was like.
All I've heard is just like a few side
it was like mobster related or something like that.
Do it in like 3 hours.
Italian mob or some shit like that.
I mean, you can buy each part, or you could buy all 3, which is like $25. But so like right now, it's not worth it.
I probably won't. There's only certain games where I'll like buy the DLC for something.
Yeah, dude,
to invest my time in. Like, I have to really enjoy a game to buy DLC.
Do? And I know they're gonna do it. Undead Nightmares for Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
they have to.
Yeah, they have to. That'd be badass.
Just the thought of that alone has me super fucking excited.
You would have thought.
What if they didn't do it as DLC, but they incorporated it into the online, so you could do the zombie stuff in the online
and with your friends?
Dude, that'd be so fucking.
Oh, cool. I mean, it kind of sucks because they're kind of missing their opportunity because they could have got that done for Halloween. This game should have came out like in September. And then had the beta come out
for like.
I know, but like I wonder if that was like their plan because it would have worked. It would have worked so well. The game would have came out, and then they would have included that too.
We'll see.
Just in time for October
down the line. There's more time to make it better. That's what everyone says. So, yeah, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. Still trying to beat the game right now with whatever time I have available. I just haven't had enough time to put into it, sadly. So, but I'm excited to get back to it whenever I do. That's about it though. It's been a good podcast. Holy shit, 2.5 hours, boys.
Still staring into your not your baby blues, but your brownie browns.
What?
Your Charlie Browns.
What? Is that sentence?
Comparing. Well, I'm not looking to your baby blues in your Charlie Browns.
What do you see in my Charlie Browns?
I legit thought you were making a butthole joke.
Your brownie browns.
Oh man,
it's a delicious butthole.
I'm at 1%. Let's see if I can get a fact before my phone dies. All right,
I can get you one, buddy.
No, I got it. Okay. All right, boys. We're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a end on episode 72 of the Thought Patrol podcast. If you're tuning in and you're playing Red Dead, what do you think? What do you enjoy about the game? What do you not enjoy? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. Oh, there it goes. My phone died. No, I got it though. I got it in my noggin.
Got it.
But we'd love to hear from you guys. See what you guys are doing. Let us know one of your crazy stories because I've heard quite a few things of people just like dumb things. Like even the fact that like if you get hit too hard, your hat flies off your head. and you have to pick
That's
it back
awesome.
up and
Like
shit like
Indiana
that.
Jones style.
Yeah. So
Fuck
like
yeah.
you get out of a really badass fight and you like walk over, pick up your hat off
That's
the ground, put it back on your
badass,
head.
dude. Oh,
Just again, something doesn't need to exist in the game at all, but because it's there, it adds that little bit of oomph to the experience. I completely forgot about that. There's one other thing. I accidentally punched my horse. Just like decked him.
Screwing the fucking-
And I watched this someone on Twitter uploaded, they did it too. They punched their horse by accident, and he like turned around and fucking kicked him right in the chest and sent him flying back.
have PETA coming up for you.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys for being here tonight, hanging out with me.
Hell yeah.
Definitely Tyler being here in person. It's
Yeah,
always a
buddy.
pleasure, dude.
It was fucking fun. Glad I could show up.
So before we go, we call it a end on episode 72 of the Thought Patrol podcast. Let me get some outros from you. First you, Tyler, then we'll get Shawn's true and faithful.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember to wash your horse's nutsack or vag if it's a female, and Red Dead Redemption 2, because, you know, the detail is so serious, man. That shit gets dirty sometimes. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
That's what it says on the front of the box when you go to buy it. That whole paragraph.
Yeehaw, motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Shawn?
Hold on, pushing to talk.
No, thank you.
And on your...
Yeah. It was awesome to have you on the show again, Tyler. We miss you. We love you.
I know. I've been on like a roll so far.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be here next
like
week.
3 episodes in a row or something?
Is it in a row? I thought I missed one.
It's like 2 or 3 in a
We
row.
didn't. I technically actually, yeah, I think it was in a row because I would have missed if he did it yesterday because I was working. Yeah. But yeah, it worked out. Next week, I think I work next week.
No. Hugs and kisses and all your thing party.
So what are you doing?
Indeed. And before we go, I shall leave you all with the thought. Mexico City sinks 10 inches every year.